What is up, Tyler? All 32 teams are now in training camp. It's getting here. We're so close to the beginning of the season. We're right there. Preseason's going to start before you know it. Everybody, we got training camp battles going on. We've got information coming out. Unfortunately, we got some bad things that have happened that we got to talk about too. There's been some things we don't love as fantasy managers, but that's what we're here for. It's Tuesday night. We're here to help you sort all that out. We're going to go through all the different things. Michael Thomas's injury. Aaron Rodgers is back. Randall Cobb is now going to be a Packer, apparently. Anthony Miller is a Texan. We've got Jimmy G starting. We got a lot of different news, different things that have come out that I'm sure we're going to get to. But what we're doing here is we're going to answer every one of the questions that come into us. Yes, every one of the questions. We have been here for 3 hours. We've been here for 4 hours. Mostly 4 hours, just answering your questions. We're excited to do so. That's what we're here for. We love to talk football, and so do you. That's why we're here at Ask DLF. We'll do all that right after this intro video from Finero at Aardvark. Make sure you're following him. Check it out. Tyler, it's my favorite night. I am so pumped to be here. I'm pumped to be sitting here talking to you and with everybody that's in the chat. We've had so many people reaching out. This has just developed into such an awesome community. I love everybody that's in here. Already seeing some comments from some of my new favorite people on Twitter and here on the YouTube chat. But first, Tyler, how's everything going with you? What have you been up to? Anything new do you want to tell us about?
No, I mean, I've been writing all my articles. I've been, doing some stuff. That's it, really. We got a couple of last minute questions from the DLF forum. How does that sound?
Oh, I love that. Very cool. Go ahead and load them into our Google Doc. And
that's going to be.
Yeah, we will get to those, but man, it is an exciting time to be an NFL fan. Things are starting to come up, and this is about the time that even in your leagues where you have the more casual players, everybody has dynasty leagues like that, where they're like, why do you want to start the rookie draft in May? You need to wait till the third preseason game, or that's totally how that, they're even starting to wake up a little bit and check in and hey, are we running this league back? And so it's this is the time when you want to capitalize. When you want to get out there and make trade offers and be aggressive, this is the time to do so. And we're here to talk through all those details. Henry's in the chat. Thank you for being in the chat here, Henry. You want to be like him. He says, hit that like button. You want to make sure you do that same thing.
Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button.
That's exactly right. Henry's going to draft. Yeah, this is it. We're drafting. We're ready to answer questions. And we got one right off the bat from Todd. Let's get to that. Todd hits us up. Todd Radmaker says, granted, players deemed to be failures have minimal trade value. Deemed to be what, Tyler?
Failures.
But does it ever make sense to buy failure on the cheap for production value for a contending team?
Well, I mean, you can always do that, right? I mean, it always depends on the situation, right? It's going to be about value. So if you can get failure at a good value, then I'm fine taking failure if it comes at a good value. But, when we talk about not wanting failure, we talk about that, right? We talk about that almost every week, don't we? You would say it's very common, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that, and maybe this has not been made clear, and I'll make it clear now. Typically, when I'm talking about avoiding failure, what I really want to avoid always is high-priced assets with a history of failure. Because if you have a high price with a history of failure, a little bit more failure, and then you don't have a high price anymore. You don't have a high price. You're not worth anything anymore. So, who do we talk about? Typically, who are the examples of what we don't want? We don't want Juju. Why? Because he still has a lot of value, 2 years of failure and a lot of value. We don't want that, right? Because one more failure and then all the value is gone. Other people we don't want. We don't really want Carson Wentz. Why? Because another bad year and it'll be like, oh no, that's really what Carson Wentz is now. And that's it. Value's gone. And you're looking at him in like the Jared Goff value range in Superflex. Does that sound like it's not a high valued asset anymore? So when we talk about not wanting failure, we do not want high valued failure because you're asking to be burned. These type of players, it can make sense sometimes, but who are you buying as a contender with a lot of failure? Failure doesn't sound like it's going to help you contend, right? So, give me an example. Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about that's going to help you win games, but also comes with a lot of failure? I don't have an example for that, right? Muted. You're muted
God, if
again.
you're still listening and watching this, make sure you go ahead and ask, give us some specific examples. If you have an idea of someone who you think is that quote unquote failure, or who, has got some of those maybe 2 strikes against them almost, it might be a way to put it from what Tyler said. But if you get that 3rd strike, it's just their value is plummeted and done.
Well, yeah, once you get that 3rd strike, I usually think it's 3 strikes and you're out. I mean, there are some people who, I think are on 2 strikes at this point who still have a lot of value. We don't want those people. We don't want them.
Todd asked another really good question. We're going to go back to back, Todd, right off the bat here. Tyler, do you ever opt to forego cashing in on a stud's value to ride out the
these were the questions he put in the forum, and then he just put them in the chat too.
Well, good job, Todd. That was smart.
Yeah, that was a good idea. That one, we like that one. We like that one. So do I ever, yes. Right? Yes. Is the answer to this question.
What are some examples right now of players that you're like, yeah, I'm hanging on to them because the production that I'm going to get out of them for the remainder of the time that I'm going to have them is better than trying to flip them right now. Do you have any examples that come to your mind?
DeAndre Hopkins,
maybe.
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, perfect. That's exactly
DeAndre Hopkins, because he doesn't seem to carry the trade value.
Yeah,
but he's going to give you a lot of production value. Your sell window on DeAndre Hopkins was last year. If you were going to sell, you had your chance. Now it's time to ride it out. Other players, Kelsey's hard to sell. If you're in a win now window, I think you got to keep Kelsey and ride him. If you're, right? It gives you such an advantage, doesn't it?
It does.
Ride him out.
It does. I have players like that. I have a couple teams that are contending. Like Keenan Allen might be an example of somebody who
Keenan Allen is another good name. Keenan Allen is another name that I kind of put in that category of player I'm fine riding. I'm okay with him at his current price.
Chagdor's in the chat. Appreciate you tuning in. He says, "Let's go." I'm pumped up. We gotta just strap in. Put your seatbelt on. We got a lot to talk about here, guys. So many new things. This is Henry's favorite show. Henry, you are definitely one of our favorite guests. Wessel, what's up, fam? Addison in the chat here. Blake's excited.
Addison.
PJ is here. Yeah, Addison. Look, make sure you go. Addison is working so hard. And if you notice, he's really proud of the new camera that he got, the new setup, the lighting. It looks good. Go look at his videos. If you haven't checked them out in a while, make sure you go watch what Addison is doing.
And we're very proud of Addison.
The production value has gone way up, and I'm excited about what Addison is doing. It looks really good. PJ, yeah, appreciate you tuning in again. AJ. Ed, yeah, I am pretty pumped up tonight, Ed. I'm pretty pumped up. I got to do my Saints team preview with some fun folks last night. That was a lot of fun. Make sure you check that out. Here we go. Tyler from Periscope tuning in. Thank you, Tyler. Wide receiver, Waddle or Smith? Running back, Sermon or Carter? He's got his rookie drafts coming up. Pick one of the running backs and one of the wide receivers. So which one of these wide receivers, we'll start with that, Jalen Waddle or Devonta Smith?
Devonta Smith.
Yeah, you're not. Part of it's because you're not sold on Tua, right? That's one of the biggest reasons.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not sold on Hurts either. So that's not really. We have a similar situation, but Devonta Smith is going to be the number one target on the team right away. Jalen Waddle. I mean, Will Fuller last year was the wide receiver 1 in the games he played. I just don't think that Jalen Waddle is going to come in and overtake Will Fuller immediately to be the top target on the team. I just see that as unrealistic. So, yeah, I like Devonta Smith more before the draft, and nothing's changed.
I think I probably like Waddle more than you, but Devonta Smith, like he's like you said, he's just primed for a lot of targets. He's got like a lot of it's obviously so much talent, and they're going to rely on him. The depth chart gets pretty ugly pretty quickly if you look into it, and that was clear on my Eagles show too. What else?
Well, I mean, there shouldn't have been any positivity on that show because there's really nothing to be positive about. There's really nothing. I mean, everything is bad.
They're not positive about anything, man. Don't worry. Well,
everything is bad with the Eagles. Everything is bad.
Don't worry about it. They're not. Yeah. No, Shane is the worst on there. There wasn't a lot of positive.
Well, I mean, Shane not being positive about his team is not a surprise, but there isn't anything to be positive about the Eagles right now. Didn't he say he wouldn't even be an Eagles fan anymore?
He quit for a little while, but he's back. He's
quit.
Back.
Yeah, he quit.
He took a vacation. What about Trey Sermon versus Carter?
I would much rather have Trey Sermon, right? I mean, Trey Sermon was a higher draft pick. I think he's a better player. So,
yeah,
I don't really see this as much of a decision.
Sermon, I think, has a much higher ceiling. I think even if Carter ends up being everything we think, he's still like a 1A type player and not necessarily a 3-down back that's going to like Sermon could, if things work out well, he could be a 3-down back.
I don't think so. I don't see, and that's why maybe I'm not that high on Sermon as consensus. I don't think that Sermon is going to be, a true workhorse back, but I think he can command more of the share than Carter. I mean, Carter, I'm thinking his ceiling is like a 55 or 60% player. Whereas like Sermon, I could see going up to 65 to 70. I don't think either of these two guys are going to be your workhorse. You're not getting an Ezekiel Elliott out of these guys. You're not getting that.
Appreciate your question, Tyler, and for you tuning in. PJ from Periscope here, half point PPR, Dynasty, Eckler or Swift?
Swift. I mean, Swift is way younger than Eckler.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people saying don't fade DeAndre Swift. I'm half with them in Dynasty. I'll continue with Swift. I believe in Swift's talent. I think Swift is one of the better running backs in the league. Not better running backs in the league, but like better young running backs in the league. I think he's great. I think he is exceptional in the passing game. Exceptional. Not quite on the Alvin Kamara level, which Christian McCaffrey, who is, but Swift versus Eckler as a pass catcher, I don't know. I think Swift has every potential to be just as good as Eckler in the passing game, and he's far better on the ground. Eckler's not so good on the ground, actually. I mean, he's scored 8 rushing touchdowns in 4 years? Or something. It's 8 or 9 rushing touchdowns. I mean, I think that's enough to say that Eckler has a problem scoring rushing touchdowns. So, I would much rather have Swift.
They're going in pretty similar areas of the drafts. DeAndre Swift going off as the running back 12 right now. Austin Eckler going off as the running back 14. That's all according to DLF's ADP.
Buy Eckler to sell at that price.
Yeah.
Get Eckler off my team at that price.
Anytime you hear me quote ADP tonight, it's going to be from that DLF ADP, and you get access to that when you're a premium subscriber. So if you're watching this and you're not already subscribing to DLF, make sure you go and check that out. They have a lot of great deals right now. Go look at all the details. You get a lot of great tools. We're going to reference them a bunch tonight as we start to go through and answer these questions. And yeah, this is really good. AJ, I appreciate the shout out, man. Like I do everything I can to try and host well, but it helps when you have somebody like Tyler here that's just a superstar you can rely on.
Thank you.
And obviously everybody in the chat doing a great job too. Henry, 2 of my rookie drafts are after the 3rd preseason game. Right. I have one that's after the 3rd preseason game too, and it always kills me because you know what I ended up doing? It ends up being like my 30th draft or something. And I'm like, oh, I don't have any shares of this guy yet. So I take like people that like I don't have a bunch of, and I'm like, oh, I didn't get this guy a lot. So I'm going to draft more Kadarius Toney.
An unnecessary delay, though. Such an unnecessary delay for no reason. Why would you delay that long? That just doesn't make any sense. I hate that.
Here, let's get into it. Michael Thomas injury. Jamie asked our first Michael Thomas question. Why does the community hate Michael Thomas so much? He had one injury ruin one season. Besides that, all he's done is play like a Hall of Famer.
Because when you have a bad attitude, people start to not like you. That's all it is. I mean, that's what it is. That's why they don't like him. That's why the vitriol towards Michael Thomas is higher than it would be toward another player. It would be the same if Josh Jacobs got hurt after his interesting Instagram post last year. I mean, people remember these things. They're stupid, but that's why. That's why they don't like him. And now, we had a whole essentially last year lost season, completely lost season. And now this season is going to be another lost season. So he's basically, as a dynasty asset, he's basically dead to me.
Talk about is there anything you can think of as far as trade values or anything that you've seen come up that make a lot of sense to you? I mean, you're not selling him for pennies,
what?
Right?
Oh, I would love to do that. What am I getting? I want him off my team immediately. Immediately, I have no interest in him at all. I want him off my team.
His value's got to be so low.
I don't care. It's only going to get worse.
Man.
Well, you know why it's going to get worse? Because there are still people who somehow think that he's going to return in 6 weeks. Last year, similar injury. He was going to return. Then he wasn't going to return. Then he was going to return. Then not returning. Then injured again. People don't forget that. Now we're going through it another time, a second time, the same exact process. People don't want to deal with that. I mean, that's too many injuries. I mean, we're already at 28 years old. So this is a lot of strikes, a lot of strikes against him. So I don't want any more strikes. So you can get him off my team. I have no interest. None. I'll let him burn me. I don't care. The value upside's not there.
Yeah.
What's he going to do in value? He's already 28. By the time
that's what I was going to say.
100% healthy, he'll be 29. And on a different team, I expect, by the way, because the Saints are tired of this behavior. They're tired of this behavior. They wanted to get rid of Michael Thomas during the season last year. They were very upset with everything he was doing last year. And now you can imagine he decides to have this surgery now. He could have had the surgery 5 months ago. Why did he decide to have it now? I have no idea. So we don't want any of that. That sounds like it's going to be a 29-year-old receiver on a new team coming off 2 injury-riddled seasons. What is OBJ going for in Dynasty right now? Who's more talented, Michael Thomas or OBJ? Really, who's a better player?
They're very different kind of players.
Right, but they're similar talent levels to me, even though they're very different players. And you see what happened to OBJ's value after a couple injury-riddled seasons. It's gone.
He's going on the board as the wide receiver 35 right now.
And that's where Thomas will be very, very soon. That is where Thomas will be. By this time next year, Thomas will be around that price. So I would get out now. Get out now before it's too late. Don't wait for him to come back, because if you wait for him to come back and then he doesn't come back, his value is going to continue to go down as long as he doesn't come back. Then he could come back and then, another injury. And then the value is gone. You can't. No, sell him immediately. Immediately, I want him off my team right now.
It's a strong take. I mean, I definitely think it's the right play. It's a lot riskier to hang on to him right now because, again, like you said, like if things work out where he is on a different team next year, then you're talking about a guy who, you're right, is like it could crater to where is like a low end wide receiver 3 in terms of his ADP and value.
Well, what if he doesn't play any games? What if he plays no games and then is on a new team? Where do you think he's going to be priced in Dynasty? If he 2 years of essentially nothing and on a new team? I mean, where's he going to be priced at 29 years old at that point? Right? I mean, why would he be higher? Why would he?
Yeah. Best case scenario is like DeAndre Hopkins, but I just don't see him as that kind of player.
Well, I don't think so, because DeAndre Hopkins hasn't missed any time. DeAndre Hopkins has never missed time. But now we're having the same injury over and over and over again. That sounds different. The best, sometimes, people say this, but sometimes the best ability is availability. And Thomas is not available right now. And now we're going to have 2 whole years of not available.
Not ideal. Certainly not ideal when you look at the
No,
Saints.
it's not ideal.
What's left
It's
on the
not
Saints.
ideal.
But the Saints did go grab Chris Hogan.
Oh, well, that solves everything, right? I mean,
So
he can use his
fine.
lacrosse stick. He can use his lacrosse stick. He will use the lacrosse stick to solve something. That's what he's going to do.
Why do you hate dual sport athletes, Tyler? You can't. You're like they're good. He's a dual sport athlete.
Oh, really? When was the last time Chris Hogan, contributed anything ever? 2018? I don't even remember.
PJ wants his failure T-shirts. He's going to buy it.
Ask Addison.
We got to get on that. We definitely got to get on that. He agrees with you. Never overpay for guys that could be failure. Juju's garbage. I don't know. He's garbage. He's
garbage, but
he's a good person, I'm sure.
Considering his current price, it's priced all on the idea that he's going to return to being good, despite the fact that reception perception shows that he wins on none of his routes. None. It's all red. The only route he does well is the drag and the short slant. Everything down the field is bad. All bad. He doesn't win on any of those. So if you just press him, then you can't win. I mean, why are we valuing that guy highly in Dynasty? That sounds, I don't know. That doesn't sound very good.
I will never understand why he did not sign with the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't
know why he didn't sign with the Chiefs either. But that's, people do dumb things. I don't know.
Isco Alcaran asks, what should I be looking to get in for A-Rob, Allen Robinson, that is, in terms of draft pick, draft capital in a Superflex league? Mid-first, more, less?
More. Right? I mean, more than that.
How
much more are you going to get, though? You're not going to get more than that. That's the thing.
Exactly. I don't know if you're going to find anybody that's going to give you more than that because of the uncertainty in his contract. I think that's what gives people hesitation. He is, he's going off as a wide receiver 14, but he's at that 27 age where he's close.
I mean, it is what it is.
But this could fall into that category of a guy like we talked about with Keenan Allen or those guys where you just buy for the rest of their career and hang on. Unless you're in a situation where you got to sell and you need to sell, then I think I'd be looking for, like you said, more than just one first. But I'd probably settle for a first and a second or something if I could, depending on how much I want to make sure I'm rebuilding.
We just answered this.
Another Tyler. Oh yeah. Okay. All right.
Sorry,
I got that one. Blake, one quarterback. PPR, 14-team league. Would you give up to predicted late 2022 first?
No.
Judy?
No.
14-team league.
No.
One QB.
Too risky. No.
It is a little bit too much, probably. I am pretty hyped about Judy, though.
So am I, but this is not. You're losing all the value you could get with Judy by buying him at this price. So no.
He's feeling good about his team if he's saying these are definitely late first.
They could be up to someone else's first. So you don't know even where they're coming from.
I guess one of them at least has to be somebody.
Well, one of them at least has to be. They could both be. So
yeah.
No, I don't want to do this. And also, if you're a contender, why are you buying Judy? Why not buy A-Rob?
Well, for 2 first, get A-Rob or get
someone who's going to help you more.
Keenan Allen
I just don't get it. This is not the kind of price I'm ever going to pay. Next.
Could you get Devontae Adams for 2 first? Are you back where you would pay that for him?
Well, I would consider it.
Yeah, me too.
I'd consider it in a 14-team league where the firsts are late, maybe in a 1 QB. There's little to no risk at that point. And just take the rest of Adams' career.
Right. Mark, hi, Cal and Tyler. Looking forward to all the content as usual.
We will do our best.
We're going to do our best. Blake's answering the question. This is what I love. We're in the chat. Answer your questions, and even if for some reason
people answer the questions,
even if for some reason we don't get to them, somebody is going to answer questions for you guys, no doubt. Didi going to the Vikings. Does that kill your love for Smith Marset? Is it? I don't remember how to pronounce his first name. I'm bad at that. Sorry.
Emir
Smith Marset.
No, Didi Westbrook is a bust. He was a 4th-round pick and then was terrible. No, it doesn't kill it. I mean, it's not ideal.
I think it does kill it for this year.
Didi Westbrook is horrible, man.
but because Keenan McCardell is there, that's who was the wide receiver coach in Jacksonville. Now he's up in Minnesota. There's a connection there. I think D.D. Westbrook is going to see the field.
We'll see about that.
A good bit. Hey, Mark, can't sell MT.
Yes, you can.
Julio?
Yes, you can.
Would you buy Julio for the rest of his career? At his price?
No. Definitely not.
Interesting.
No.
So should we still be? Gosh, he's going as the wide receiver 27 right now.
Too high.
Too high?
Yeah. He's 32, coming off an injury, going to a new team. No thanks.
So
I'm good.
Anthony Ferguson season then? Josh Reynolds?
I'm just not. It doesn't work that way. Like, I'm just not confident in him, no matter what. I'm just not.
You guys are killing it in the chat. Keep it coming. Like if you're in here and you have any questions for us, go ahead and ask those. Like if it starts to get to where there's not as many, we'll go jump over and do the Twitter questions. But you guys are putting a bunch in there. Keep it up.
There are many.
We will keep it going. If you are getting impatient and we are not answering your question fast enough, you can always use the super chat function and we will answer that question and spend some more time on it too. You don't have to. We're going to try and get to everything that we can.
It would make me happy if you did.
Yes, and it would definitely be good. Look, Addison gets really upset if we don't do a good job for him. He comes after us.
Sure.
Yeah, sometimes those lower body injuries just linger. Yeah, AJ Green.
They do linger.
Yep.
So I don't want lingering. That sounds bad.
Yep. David Paquette, thank you for tuning in, David, and sending in your question. I'm in a 10-team PPR, and I'm loaded at tight end. What should I be looking to get for Noah Fant? I have Kelsey, Hockenson, and Pitts. I
mean, you got I don't know. It's hard to trade Fant for. You probably trade him for another position.
That's a lot of tight ends. That's too many tight ends. You definitely
nobody's
need
gonna
to trade
give
somebody.
You're not going to get a first for Fant, I don't think.
No.
Not outside of a premium. You think you can get...
Would you get more for Hockenson?
No, I would rather trade Fant for less.
I'd rather trade Hockenson.
No.
Kelsey's a guy that I'm riding till the wheels fall off. Yeah, agreed, PJ.
There are people who think wrongly that Noah Fant is going to become the next great thing. They think that. You're one of them. You can believe that. It's very interesting that you feel that way. Now, let's look at what happened today. The Broncos showed up to training camp. Did Courtland Sutton start on the pup? No. Did Courtland Sutton say that he's 100%? He said the last remaining percentile is football. So he's playing football, right? So he's 100% healthy, and he'll be 100% happy when he plays football. So that's what he said. So what did the Broncos beat say about the target distribution? I don't know. They said that Courtland Sutton would be a clear leader with Jerry Jeudy just behind and Noah Fant a distant third. But with all due respect, though, beat reporters are good for a lot of things. Predicting targets, I don't know that's where I'm going to go for predicting targets. You say that. But then we look at the Steelers beat reporters. They said that Deontay Johnson would lead the Steelers in targets, followed by Chase Claypool with Juju a distant third. So, there's a lot of things. I mean, they say all these things, but to some degree, they're guessing a little bit like us, right? They're just they're there and they see it. But they have a more educated guess than we do. But even a coach can't say this guy's going to get this many targets. This guy's going to get that many targets. But what you can say is how they see the offense. Sure. And how they see the offense is that Courtland Sutton is the alpha receiver. Jerry Jeudy is the secondary option and possession receiver, and Noah Fant is the tertiary option. That's how they see it. That's what's going on. It's not a debate. That is what's happening. So unless Sutton or Jeudy gets hurt again, I think Noah Fant, especially now that there's no Aaron Rodgers, whoever you have, Bridgewater or Locke, I think Noah Fant is going to disappoint you.
I think they need to respect Tim Patrick more because he's clearly the best receiver on the team.
Well, that would be even worse then. If Tim Patrick actually contributed, then you can really forget about Noah Fant doing anything because that's just eating into his target share more. Then he might not even be the tertiary option. So you really don't want that. That would be very bad.
Philly is in trouble. They could be. I think they're heading in.
Well, I think they're more in trouble because they were way over the cap, had to cut a bunch of veterans, didn't replace them, and now they have nothing on defense. I think that's more of the problem. Why Philly's in trouble. They also, they don't really have that many proven offensive weapons, really.
They don't. And yeah, I think Travis Fulgham is their number 3 right now. And, it's just
it's his dust.
It's tough. How would you rank the Jacksonville wide receivers? So
same as I ranked them before.
Chark, yeah, how would you?
Visca, Chark, Jones. Jones is way down there.
Yeah. He's got some history with Darrell Bevell. I mean, he, understands the offense, getting in there, new scheme.
I'm just not interested. I'm not interested in Jones. I just think that you're not going to really be that excited for him. You're not going to be able to rely on him.
He scores like 8, 9, 10 touchdowns every year.
That would be a miracle.
He scored 9 the last 2 seasons in a row in Detroit.
Yeah, I'm not expecting that this year.
Now he's got Trevor Lawrence, better offense. I think he's going to surprise people.
I don't know.
He's free, but if
Trevor Lawrence were as good as a rookie as Matthew Stafford has been in his career, people would be very happy with Trevor Lawrence's rookie season.
Yeah.
So that's something that people shouldn't necessarily take for granted.
Yeah, I'd still go Visca, Chark, Jones, but I don't know what we're gonna get out of Chark. He's one of the ones that I feel like I've got the least.
Chark is such a question mark.
Yeah. I
have no idea what that's referring to.
This has got to be Philly. He thinks Philly's going to shock people.
That's not going to happen.
It would be a shock.
Yeah, it would be a big shock. I think more shocking with that they're 3-14 and replace Hurts. That's more likely to me.
Adam says, "Love the show. This is the only good thing about Tuesdays. You're forgetting tacos. Taco Tuesday is also really close to as good as this show. Not quite as good, but it's like right up there.
Maybe."
PJ says both Jets and Niners backfields will be running back by committee. I don't know that I fully believe that. Like, I think somebody can assert themselves. Sermon. I think Sermon has as good a chance of anybody because, gosh, who else there? He says he's hurt a lot, but who in the backfield stays healthy? I mean,
nobody. But that's not the point. Sermon has the better draft capital. And he's in the better offense, so it's an easy choice.
OMZ asked, will Justin Fields take the league by storm and become a QB1?
No. But I think he'll come close.
I think he'll be drafted like one next year.
Oh, 100%.
Yep. Tony's back in the house. Tony, what's up, man? Missed you for a week or 2 there. Yeah, appreciate you tuning in.
We have a problem with this question. I can already tell. we have an issue here.
Tony or Tanya says Superflex 12 team. Russ, Hurts, Wentz are my QBs. Is this group strong enough to win if I have very good running backs, wide receivers, and Pitts?
You're really asking for it. You're asking for it. Oh man. It's okay. But you could be in a very dire situation in a year's time. So just be aware of that. It is okay.
You have to draft a quarterback next year.
Well, let's just take one step at a time.
I mean, this is one of those, like, I don't think people realize how often they need to draft quarterbacks in Superflex leagues. They seem to wait.
They don't listen to me. Yeah. They don't listen. They don't listen. They think that you can get a quarterback later, or a quarterback not so important, right? I mean, you can always trade for a quarterback. No, Not anymore. Not
No.
anymore. People have smartened up. You can't do that anymore. Even the cheap quarterbacks are expensive. And, you say, oh, I'll fill in with a solution here or a solution there. But when you keep rolling a wheel like that, you keep rolling, eventually you run out of gas. And eventually you have no assets left to trade, no quarterbacks left. You cannot kick the can down the road forever. And eventually you will pay dearly. You'll pay. And then you'll be joining a joyful 3-year rebuild. That's what you'll end up doing. So, yes, it's strong enough to win, but I would take caution with your long-term outlook.
P2 in the house. I'm late again, but happy to be here for a great show. Appreciate you tuning in. Some love the show. Who dat? We got some Saints fans.
Anyway, am I ever going to record a show with someone who's not a Saints fan? Like every show I do. Every show I do is with a Saints fan.
Yeah. We out here. Ian, what's up, dude? Appreciate you tuning in. I think I'm saying that right, Ian. Picks wise, what's the gap?
Correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah,
although I don't know how you would tell us how to pronounce it.
I want to say actually I am wrong. Ian, tell me if you're in here. Tell me.
Try to tell us. At least tell us if we're right or wrong.
I feel like this came up once already. But okay, picks wise, what's the gap between CEH and Swift?
I mean, if I told you could have CEH in a second for Swift, you'd say yes, right?
And vice versa.
Well,
I feel like they're really close. Like I feel like they
are close. I have Swift higher.
They're
but if you gave me a second with CEH, I'd take it.
They're back to back. It's RB12 and RB13.
Well, to me, they're not back to back, but they're not far. I have in one QB, I have Swift at 12th overall and CEH at 17.
Yeah, see DLF ADP, they're 12 and 13. They're right there.
No, that's running back. I have them both higher.
Yeah.
They're 20 and 21. I have Swift at 12 and CEH at 17. But I'm big on getting some running backs early. That's why my rankings are a little different. But in that, you're not paying a first for that. And even with a second, I'll still take the second with CEH, who I have ranked lower. So that means the gap is less than a second. If you offered me CEH and a third for Swift, I'd probably just keep Swift because I do like his talent a good bit more. I liked it more last year, but I let the draft capital and the situation sway me. And I think I did the right thing, by the way. I stand by that decision in retrospect, even though it didn't work out. I think that was the right decision, to go with draft capital. But now that we've seen them play, I think it's fair to go back to how I felt before and go with Swift.
Henry says, I just finished my 50-second draft.
Congratulations. Even with my Patreon, and I'm not doing those drafts, I'm like helping. I mean, sometimes it varies. Sometimes I literally do it for them. And other times it's like, oh, okay, I have 2 questions. And mostly I'm going to do it myself. Maybe I've done 20 to 25 sort of doing them. 52 is ridiculous. That is a lot.
It reminds me that Henry gave literally the best comment under any one of our YouTube channel. It was the best one. He said last year I was in 118 leagues.
That is insane.
He said this year I'm going to cut back to 100.
Great.
I feel like if you're in 100, you might as well be in 1,000. I just feel like it's like
I don't know. I don't know how you do it, man.
Yeah.
Next.
There's a funeral going on in the chat about Michael Thomas.
Rip.
Yep. PJ, Michael Thomas is done. I don't know.
It doesn't really help the people, right? To tell them, oh, Michael Thomas is done, whatever, he has no value. So if you have a trade involving Michael Thomas that you're thinking about, or you have some ideas, put them in the chat and we'll discuss specifics. But I think it's very safe for me to say what I'm not doing. I am not drafting Michael Thomas, and I am not buying Michael Thomas under any circumstances. I am not voluntarily putting myself into Michael Thomas. That differs from what I would say about Cam Akers. That is different. Those are not the same. I have a different opinion about Cam Akers. But when it comes to Michael Thomas, I am not voluntarily putting myself into Michael Thomas. It's only if I already have him. I can blanket say, don't draft, don't buy.
If his body ever cooperates, Michael Thomas has the mentality to succeed again, but his body's got to cooperate.
He also has the mentality that he's going to come back when he feels like it. When he feels like it. When he feels like there's that same mentality.
I don't think that's true.
Oh, I think it's very true. I think that
he was
last year, he didn't follow any of the...
He stayed on the field because he wanted to stay with Drew Brees.
Team about his injury last year, and then let's not forget what he did in practice last year, where he hit someone in practice and then he was suspended for that. I mean, this guy to me sounds like he's going to do whatever he wants, and he doesn't care about what anyone else thinks.
Thing. Like Michael Jordan hit Steve Kerr in practice, and
that's true. But Michael Jordan is one of the best players ever, and I don't remember Michael Jordan missing a lot of time.
You see the mentality. I think a lot of his problem. He wasn't saying I'm going to come back when I want. The problem is he played last year despite recommendations that he shouldn't, because he didn't. He thought this could be Drew Brees' last year and didn't want to miss out on a Super Bowl run.
But he also there were times where he was supposed to be like rehabbing, and then he was doing something else, and there were other times where he wasn't listening to the medical staff. Both about that and other parts of his injury. And now, why is he getting a surgery 5 months later? How did that happen? By the way, there's been no explanation, none, as to why. None. The only explanation is that it happened.
I've seen an explanation.
There's no official explanation.
It's a lack of trust in the medical staff. But
whose fault is that? He just trusts his own opinion.
It's more common than you think. It's more common than you think that players don't trust the people that are motivated to do things that don't necessarily always have the long-term best value of the player. Like the player taking their own health and their own into their own hands. That's not a bad thing.
And it is a bad thing because that means he's just going to do whatever he wants against the advice of what doctors tell him. That doesn't sound good. That means he's going to come back from his injury whenever. I don't want whenever.
Team doctors.
I don't care.
Not all team doctors are making the decision that's going to be best for him when he's 60.
But I don't have any reason to doubt in the Saints medical staff. It's not like the Chargers medical staff who likes to stab their players. I have issues with Michael Thomas. I have issues. And I don't want players with these kind of attitudes on my team because they can be disruptive. They can be disruptive because, do you want players who are going to punch teammates and then get suspended for the game? How does that affect your dynasty team? You don't have him that week. That even if you were healthy, then he didn't play that week. So that's zero that he gives you. He gives you 0. I don't want 0. Right? You see what I'm saying? Why I'm not so interested in dealing with all of this on my team. So I want him off my team. He can be on someone else's team.
Grant G, hey guys, you're the best. How do you know when and how much fab to use? Should have been 33. Question. If this is 33 out of 1,000, maybe. If it's out of 100, no.
Right. I'll bid $0 on Tevin failure. I don't want him. I'll let someone else have him. I think that he is completely washed.
This is a good question, though. How do you know when and how much fab to use? This week way overpaid for Marquez Callaway because it's a league with nobody, and he was on waivers, and
he was already on my roster. But he was on waivers in your league because nobody picked him up. I did tell people that there was I didn't really like Traquan Smith, and there was an availability behind Michael Thomas. Obviously, you can't predict an injury, but he should have been rostered before.
And then we saw he changed his number to number 1, so he should be way up your ranks. Way up your ranks.
Yeah,
wherever he was, move him up.
No, I wouldn't move him way up. I just
way up.
I just think that
he's number 1.
Okay, here's what we learned from this lesson: is that when you have someone who has a path to playing time, like Marcus Callaway did before, even with Michael Thomas, he had a path to playing time. He was competing with Traquan Smith and Deontay Harris for the 2 and 3 receiver roles. He was competing. So he had a path to playing time. So someone who's a path of significant playing time, you should put them on your roster. That's someone, especially someone young like Callaway. He should have been on your roster, especially because if there are limited options in front of him, this is why we roster handcuffs, and we do that. It's because we need to prepare. You need to be prepared for a possible injury because football is a violent game and there are going to be injuries. So, you do what you want, but it's just good to prepare for these things. And, at the end of the day, like, I liked what I saw in the time that Callaway played last year. And I think he has a decent opportunity now. But that doesn't really get to the point, because what the Saints should do, we just talked about him, actually. They should call the Broncos now. They should call now about Tim Patrick. They should call now, because you cannot go into a season with this kind of receivers. I mean, you can't do that. How are you going to have a team? You cannot have a team with Traquan 3 years of disaster, Marquez unproven, Deontay special teamer, Chris Lacrosse player, and Kawan 7th round pick. That is
and
not
the Trout man. Don't forget about the Trout man.
The Troutman with his, you said last night, what was it? 135 career receiving yards. That's what you have. So you have Alvin Kamara and you have all of that. You have nothing. So you can't go into a season like that. Mm-hmm. Tim Patrick, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is true, has more career receiving yards than all of those players combined by a lot.
Traquan Smith has more than you think.
Who?
Traquan Smith.
Tim Patrick, I think, has a lot more than you think. Tim Patrick, I think, has like 1,500 career receiving yards or something.
Oh, then Traquan Smith has way more than.
Oh, no, he doesn't. Traquan Smith, I don't think has ever beat out like 400 receiving yards in the season. Unless I'm wrong. Could be wrong, but I think like 400 is.
He's got 1109.
Traquan?
Yeah.
It's more than I thought. But honestly, considering how little everyone else has, Tim Patrick could still have the combo beat.
Let's see.
What did I say Tim Patrick has? 1,500?
Let's see. He's got...
That is more than that.
1,275.
That's it?
Yeah.
No, he must have had them all last year. Either way, they should still trade for him, because he'd be their wide receiver one.
But they're not going to. And that's what I think the reaction
They're not going to. They're not going to because they're incompetent. They're not going to because they're incompetent. That's why. That's why they're not going to, because they've mismanaged the cap for years, and now they have no cap room to replace anyone, like they didn't do during free agency and the draft. They let everyone walk and didn't replace them. So they're incompetent. That's why they're not going to trade for him.
But the Saints have known about this injury since June. And I think everybody was like, oh, the Saints should go out and do this. Like, they've been knowing about it since June. They haven't done anything. That tells you a little bit about their mindset on this.
Yes, it tells me that they're completely incompetent. They're more incompetent than I thought. They're completely incompetent. That's what it tells me. That they're incompetent. That they think that they can run an offense with this personnel. You cannot run an offense with this personnel. You can't make bad players good.
Ed is having AJ Green flashbacks.
And I would have AJ Green flashbacks, actually. That's actually a good example, because AJ Green was a highly talented wide receiver, and then he had injuries.
PJ, me and you aren't friends after this comment. Sorry.
Wow.
Sorry.
Any
PJ.
part of me that wanted the Saints quarterbacks no longer does. Without Michael Thomas, I don't want any part of them. No Winston for me. I would used to be a fan of a potential breakout for Winston. No Winston. Without Michael Thomas, Winston is not going to succeed throwing to this kind of crap. So forget Jameis Winston. You can get him out of your mind. Taysom Hill, if he starts, I think also is going to be bad, because now they can stack the box in a way that they couldn't when they had Thomas. So I have no interest in Taysom Hill either. This is a hard red situation for me. I want to stay far away from these people, all of them. I think whatever the Saints win total is, bet the under. I've been saying bet the under. I hear it's at 9. Under. Bet the under.
Taysom Hill is a QB1 this year. He's a top 12.
No way. Not without Thomas. His good games were that alleged. Remember that 72% completion percentage you quoted? Who played in all of those games?
Yeah, Michael Thomas did.
He's going to do that without Michael Thomas. He's going to complete 72% of his passes without Michael Thomas. I don't think so. So
P2 says in a $300 option where I can keep players at their value as long as I want. Is Michael Thomas worth keeping for $1? Yes. For $1, yes.
You have to understand that, like, when Michael Thomas was in the lineup, I assumed Jameis Winston would start because he was better. But if Taysom Hill had started, he would have been a weekly fantasy play for me, but not anymore. Michael Thomas kills both of them. Kills them. They needed him. He's essentially, if you have a quarterback that's not like a top 5 quarterback and you lose one of the best receivers in the league and have no replacements, the value of that quarterback usually goes in the toilet. So just forget them. And I don't know about this. Michael Thomas for $1, sure.
Yeah. Tyler, with your sports management expertise, what
we
message
have to answer this question?
are the Texans trying to send, and to whom, with their demanded return for Watson? Heard they want 3 firsts and a few players.
What message are they trying to send? I mean, what kind of question is that? I mean, the message they're trying to send is that they want value in return for him. I mean, what does this have to do with my sports management expertise? Look, there were more charges against Watson. The people might not have seen, but the people should know. In the last 2 days, there were more charges, more allegations against Watson. The Texans don't want you to hear that. They don't want you to hear that. Why don't the Texans want you to hear that? Because they want people to accept when they trade him. They don't want the backlash. And they want other teams to be accepting of trading him. They don't want to hear about these other allegations, new allegations that were not there before against Deshaun Watson. They don't want people to know about that. That's why you don't hear it being talked about. But that's why we're talking about it now. We're talking about it now. So I'm telling you that they can say that they want this return for Watson all they like. They are not getting it. No NFL team will give them any 3 firsts and a few players for a player who still has active criminal investigations against him and may go to jail. That's not going to happen. That's not a realistic outcome. So here's what's going to happen. I'm telling you what's going to happen. This is what I said is going to happen the entire time. The NFL can say that they don't want to put him on the exempt list all they like. And they don't. The reason why is they want to delay as long as possible. Because what they want is the case to be settled before the season starts, so then they can make a judgment instead of just putting it off with the exempt list. They want to make a judgment. They want to make a final judgment before the season starts, because that would be better for everybody. You can make a judgment and then it's a suspension, whatever the suspension is, and then all parties can deal with that. They don't want to use the exempt list, so they're going to delay until the minute that they have to, which is about a month from now. If the cases are not settled by a month from now, they will put Watson on the exempt list. There is 0 chance that they will allow Watson to play while these cases are still pending. That will not happen. Now, with that said, Watson is not playing for Texans. He said it's a whole other issue, a completely separate and distinct issue. He said in his news conference, basically, I'm not playing for the Texans. Some version of, without saying this, I'm here so they don't find me. So he's not going to play for the Texans either. So anyone who's telling you that Deshaun Watson is going to suit up for the Texans, just forget that. Forget them. They have no idea what they're talking about. They're just spouting nonsense. That is not going to happen. So the question is, are the cases resolved? Is the police investigation resolved before the season starts? If it is, I think that even at the last minute, if you're the Dolphins, I think that having Deshaun Watson come onto your team at August 31st would be better than having Tua on your team, if that were a possibility. Same goes with the Eagles and Hurts. Same thing. I would rather have Watson at the last minute than I would rather have Hurts. But I don't think it's going to be possible, because I think that when the cases are settled, Watson will serve a severe suspension, which will be without pay, I might add. Will be without pay. The exempt list is with pay, but a suspension is without pay. So that's also why I think they don't want to use the exempt list, because they don't want to reward him for these accusations, when if he were holding out, he wouldn't get paid. And his contract, we're told, but then they would put him on the exempt list and he would get paid. So he'd be rewarded for this behavior that he did. So they don't want that, right? That sounds bad. They will do it if they have no choice and there's no resolution by the end of the season, by the start of the season. Now, I don't know if there's going to be a resolution before the start of the season. Nobody does. Anyone who tells you they know is lying to you. I don't think anyone in the situation knows. I don't think Tony Busby knows. I don't think Rusty Hardin knows. I don't think Deshaun Watson knows. I don't think the court knows. I don't think the police know. I don't think the NFL knows. Nobody knows that whether there's going to be a resolution. So prepare for there to be no resolution and him to be put on the exempt list, or for there to be a resolution and I would guess probably a suspension for the entire season. Those are, I think, the most likely outcomes. Either way, Deshaun Watson's not going to play this year. And, he will, he'll play in the NFL again, though. I mean, that's an important thing to recognize, that Deshaun Watson is more than likely going to play NFL snaps again. My guess is that eventually they settle these cases before the season starts. They settle all the cases, including the new ones. And, that settlement results in a full year suspension. And then the Texans trade him in 2022.
He's only 25. So
yeah, plenty of time. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, is that you have to accept, look, if it were up to me, Deshaun Watson would never play in the NFL. But it's not up to me, right? I mean, it's not up to me. So this is a fantasy football game that we play, right? I have to give you advice on what is going to happen, and somebody is going to roster Deshaun Watson in your league, and somebody is going to start him in your fantasy lineups. Look, if you don't want him, that's fine. Just don't trade for him. Don't draft him. If you feel a certain way and you're like, I don't want him on my team, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. I'm not going to pressure you into doing it. If you already have him, or if you don't feel that way, I would say that I'm fine drafting him. I'm fine drafting him. I want to win. And, I don't stay away from Tyreek Hill. I don't stay away from Joe Mixon. I don't stay away from Kareem Hunt. I don't have any issue rostering those players. So, it's a difficult situation to talk about, but I think my sports management expertise gave the best idea of how I think the legal situation is going to play out, and from an optics situation, what I think the NFL is going to do about it. But I am 100% sure they will not allow Deshaun Watson to play while there are active police investigations of him. That is not happening. Trust me.
Colin, I know this is going to set you off here, but I got to bring it up. Colin brings it up. MT has been consistent for longer than Barkley, but people are still high on Barkley and willing to write off MT.
Good question. It's a fair point. So a couple things. One, being right on a stud running back is much, much more valuable than a stud wide receiver. We agree on that, right? I mean, that's reason A. Mm-hmm. Reason B is I think that Saquon Barkley is a more talented running back than Michael Thomas is a talented receiver. For me, that's what I believe. Disagree if you want, but that's my opinion. And then, after that, Barkley is lower on the age curve than MT. I generally say there's about a 2-year difference between running backs and wide receivers. So, in terms of age, because, when we say the cliff is 26 for running backs, 28 for receivers. So a 2-year difference there. But MT is 4 years older than Barkley. So MT is 2 more years along on the age curve. He's already at the cliff, whereas Barkley is only 24. So those are some of the reasons. Now, with Barkley, I have concerns. I do. I do not like maybe week 1. That does not sound good. I don't want to hear maybe. Maybe's bad. I want to hear 100%. Cortland Sutton's 100% coming into camp. Joe Burrow running around without restrictions. Dak Prescott, same thing. Barkley? Why? His injury was early in the season. He should be ready now. Why isn't he ready? I do not like it. And why isn't he ready? Why? I don't like that.
Let me throw this out there because I think a lot of times there was a time that with, like we just had Cam Akers and his Achilles injury, and it's like, oh, that's a death nail. He's never going to be the same. There was a time where ACLs were just like that. Now,
that was a long time ago, though.
A long time ago, we came a long way on those, but now I feel like we've gone the other way, where we just assume that everybody who tears their ACL is going to pull an Adrian Peterson and be back.
That's the right assumption.
But there's still a percentage of people that never come back the same way from an ACL injury. Like, that's still a percentage that exists that we don't like to talk about it. We don't like to think about it. But like you said, Barkley is struggling with it. They're like, this isn't a one size fits all. Barkley is struggling with it more than the ones you just named, than Burrow, than Cortland Sutton. So like, there is something like we can't treat this all like it's just going to be automatic. We've got to listen to the reports, read these things.
It's not.
In the last
it's no longer automatic. He should be ready. He should be ready. He should not be on the PUP list right now. His injury was early in the season. There is no reason why he shouldn't be ready. He should be ready. So yeah. I am very, very concerned.
We just have to remember this the next time like this sort of thing comes up, that there is still a percentage chance on these ACL injuries that they don't come back all the way. Like, that happens.
Look, what are you going to do, though? What are you going to do about it with Saquon Barkley?
Yeah. I mean, right now, I don't feel like I'm doing anything, but we can't assume all this is going to be just, yeah. Anyway, we'll move on from him. PJ says Juju's garbage. I said it 2 years ago. I'm saying it today. We've talked about him already.
Juju's a good lesson, really. Juju's a good lesson of the reception perception and like the tape just say he's not all that, and the numbers were there. Sometimes the numbers aren't the whole story.
Addison says, "Hey, whoa, Juju was
no, he wasn't
with Pittsburgh. I have more reasons than just me being a Steelers fan. I think that's the primary reason there.
I think that's the primary reason. Why was he smart to re-sign with Pittsburgh? What did that accomplish exactly?
So." And it's Owen, not Ian. My bad. I knew I was wrong. I knew there was something there.
Let's address it.
He didn't sign because of the short-term contract with the reduced cap. Surely we'll get a more appealing contract next year.
Great question. So you say, oh, there was no money. Oh no! Somehow the Giants found money for Kenny Golladay. Somehow the Patriots gave Nelson Aguilar $13 million a year. Somehow Will Fuller was paid more, $10 million on the 1 year over an 8 for Juju. You know why he didn't get a contract? Because no one wanted him. Nobody wanted to give him a big contract. Believe me, if Juju had a contract that said 4 years, $70 million, he would have signed it.
You know who else would have? Jameis Winston.
Oh, I have issues with Jameis Winston. Don't mistake me for a Jameis Winston truther. I'm a Taysom Hill hater, not a Jameis Winston truther.
We have a good comment here from Facebook. Appreciate you tuning in on Facebook. Hit the like button on Facebook too. We always appreciate those.
This is a laughable question. What a concept.
Travis Etienne and Terrace Marshall or Aaron Jones?
Why are we adding to Etienne here? No. Etienne side. I don't want any Aaron Jones. Sell now. That's the other thing from the Aaron Rodgers news. Sell now on Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is already 26. He's older than Zeke. I mean, they still picked A.J. Dillon. It's going to be a timeshare. Sell now. Plus, Rodgers, I think, is 1 year. Aaron Jones is locked in for 2. I want out of Aaron Jones immediately. So I would take this offer.
100%. PJ.
Aaron Jones is another one of those. I'm not drafting Aaron Jones. I'm not trading into Aaron Jones. I'm just not in. I'll let someone else have him.
PJ says Dede is dust, and then
he was a 4th round pick who did nothing. Of course, he's dust.
Is way better than Dede. See, here's the thing, though. This is what I guess so hard. It's just so hard. We all think that we fully understand and know what talent level is, and like that everybody just agrees, and they don't. People don't agree with talent.
Did you see the report from Vikings camp today? Did you see the report from Vikings camp today?
What?
And said that they were very impressed with Smith Marsette's development as a 5th round pick.
Great. But the question earlier was, is Didi's playing time going to hurt Smith-Marsette this year? Yes. He's going to see the field.
I think that Smith-Marsette is going to be one of the factors that pushes Adam Thielen out of town.
Could be, but it won't be this year.
It's going to be very soon. Next.
Owen, did you see
I do not care. I don't care.
I did see this on Twitter. Let's wait to figure out, all the details before we jump on.
Who cares? This is not going to impact anything, right? I mean,
PJ wants his failure shirts. Jeffrey, would you trade Najee Harris for CEH and a 2022 first? You love Najee. Are you doing this?
I'll take the CEH side.
Yeah, me too. I think we forget this, but CEH is actually 2 years younger.
CEH, I believe, is April 99, and Najee is March 98.
Okay, so
not 100% sure, but
about a year.
Yeah, you can check that if you want.
PJ, I have CD as my Dynasty wide receiver 1. Thoughts? I don't hate it.
I don't hate it, but I don't have him as my wide receiver 1.
He's one of the acceptable answers. I feel like there's like 7 or 8 acceptable answers if you're ranking.
I think there's 5.
All right. Who are they?
Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb. And I think that's it.
And you're on record saying next year you think Jamar Chase has a chance to be there too.
Well, I think that's in the range of outcomes. If you want to include who has it in the range of outcomes to be the wide receiver 1 by next year, it's really those 5 and Chase, and those are the only 6.
PJ says Noah Fant is a jack. He's
That's
definitely
a little harsh. That's a little harsh.
He's definitely
a little harsh. Okay. With tight end, there's 3 types of tight ends, really. There's a difference maker, someone who's the first or second weapon on their team. That's Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Darren Waller, and we think Kyle Pitts and TJ Hawkinson will be that. They have not done that yet. TJ Hawkinson sort of did that last year, but not really. He wasn't what you're really thinking in that category, right? He was almost there. But you have those 5, 3 who've done it and 2 who we hope are going to do that. Then you have good. You have good players who, depending on their situation, I'd also include Mark Andrews in the group with Hawkinson and Pitts, in that if you put Mark Andrews where TJ Hawkinson is now, I would like him just as much. Or if you took him out of Baltimore and put him somewhere else, I would really like him. But unfortunately, he's stuck in Baltimore. But then you have good. I have good. Noah Fant. Dallas Goedert. And then you have worse versions of that. Like Mike Gesicki. These players are fine. They're good. They will help their NFL team. They could be low-end tight end 1s. But you're not looking at top 3 players there. You're not looking at someone who's going to take you to a championship. You're looking at someone who is someone you can start, but not someone who's going to take you over the top. There's a lot of guys like that. I mean, Logan Thomas is in that group as well. He just got a contract extension today. He's a little older, but he's in that group, even though he's on the older side. The good players. There are some others. I mean, I would include Hunter Henry in this group, except now he's buried in New England in a bad situation. But he was someone I considered in the good but not great group for many years. Evan Engram from time to time might fall in that group, but he's so inconsistent and so unreliable that I feel like he has fallen out of that group. So, I just see Fant as in the group with the good players. That's kind of how I see him.
6'4", 250, runs 4.5. That's 98th percentile.
I hear you, but Evan Ingram is just that.
97th percentile. His burst score 98th percentile. Agility score 96th.
He's almost a carbon copy of what Evan Ingram was.
Radius is a 98th percentile.
Right, but he's almost a carbon copy of what Evan Ingram was. And
go look
Evan
at
Ingram
player
didn't
profiler page and tell me if you think he's a Jag, PJ.
Oh, I think a Jag is harsh, but I don't think he's going to be. For a tight end to be a difference maker, they have to be an alpha target, and he's just not that.
Sutton is going to be bounce back player of the year.
That's very possible, but unfortunately, I'm worried about the quarterback play.
PJ says Alberto over Fant. Alberto is also a crazy good athlete. Nate Pulva.
Alberto does not have the ball skills of Fant. He doesn't have that kind of skill.
PJ, you'll like the Denver team series preview. Go watch that because you got people that agree with you there.
Alberto, I don't want Alberto. Let's not get carried away. Don't hear what I'm not saying. Fant is a good player.
David
he's not going to be a top 3 tight end, but he's a good player.
Trade an early 2022 second and either Rashad Bateman, Elijah Moore.
Absolutely not.
Contending.
No, I am not doing that. I'm not going to be buying Mike Evans. Mike Evans is one of those hard passes for me. Hard stay away. No, I'm not doing that.
So many mouths over there. I can't do it. I can't invest in anybody on that team right now. I just can't.
Absolutely not. This is a hard no for me.
Thoughts on Michael Gallup long term? Who
long term? Michael Gallup is an exceptionally talented receiver.
Vaulted over a fence today at practice.
I don't care about the fence. I like him. I would buy him now before he signs in free agency. By the way, I predict Michael Gallup will receive a larger free agent contract than Juju Smith-Schuster. Next question.
People don't realize Gallup only had 5 less targets than CeeDee Lamb last year.
They don't realize
had the most snaps of any wide receiver on the team.
They don't realize that.
I think with Dak on the field, like it's going to mean good things for Gallup.
We'll see. I mean, I don't know, but I stand by my prediction about him in free agency. People are not going to forget his 2019 season where he was exceptional.
Jamie, good question from Jamie. As a Goddard owner, should I be concerned that Zach Ertz is still on the team? I was planning to rely on him as my tight end 1.
I would be concerned. I would be, yes. I would be very concerned. This eliminates any idea that you're going to be able to reliably use Dallas Goedert this year. You'll be able to use him, but he'll be a low-end tight end 1. And that is what it is. That's not exciting me.
I don't think we know. I don't think we know all the details about this. I'm not sure.
At this point, I've turned to everything at this point. I now have ranked as if Ertz will play there in 2021.
Yeah, because Xavier Howard showed up today. Everybody was like speculating about that, and then he immediately demanded a trade. I think there's some
Zach
collective
Ertz,
bargaining things that have come up.
Xavier Howard is underpaid. Zach Ertz is horrifically overpaid. No. Unless he just hates Philadelphia.
Hang on. Like the connection I'm making is there's something in the collective bargaining agreement that makes it to where not showing up is a bigger deal than it used to be. So Zach
Ertz doesn't want
to. They're showing up. I think him showing up doesn't necessarily mean he's playing this year.
No, he's 100% playing this year because he's so overpaid. What is he going to get out of not playing? Zach Ertz is a tight end. He's not a quarterback. $8 million is a lot of money. It's actually $12 million if he actually plays.
I mean, the Eagles are paying a lot of money to Carson Wentz to not play.
Right, I understand that. But Zach Ertz is not holding out.
No, right. Neither did Carson Wentz.
Right. But
I'm saying people aren't. Xavier Howard's not holding out either, but he's demanding a trade. He's not playing for Miami this year.
Zach Ertz doesn't really want to trade.
Deshaun Watson put up to camp, but he's not playing for the Texans this year.
But Zach Ertz just wants his money. Zach Ertz doesn't care.
Yeah.
So
those guys want their money too. That's why they showed up.
Right, but if he just gets his trade, if he doesn't get his trade, he's just going to play. Whereas Deshaun Watson and Xavier Howard would start doing things to make it difficult on their teams if they don't trade them. Whereas I don't expect Zach Ertz to do the same. He's just going to take his cash.
Maybe.
$12 million. Zach Ertz is not worth $12 million. So he's going to take his $12 million and laugh to the bank at the Eagles who are overpaying him as his revenge.
Somebody whose name is You and Me Both Kev. That's an interesting name. I like it.
Also, keep in mind that Zach Ertz is in his walk year. So unlike Deshaun Watson and Xavier Howard, who have many years left on their deal, this is Zach Ertz's walk year. So he can just leave after this year.
Why is Montgomery being punished for putting up numbers against soft run defenses and Jonathan Taylor is not?
Is that what's going on?
Montgomery's not being punished. I do think there are people cautious about him, but he's not being punished. If he had not put up those numbers, he would be irrelevant right now.
He would be irrelevant. Yeah, I don't think he's being punished. I just think you look at the running back landscape and you look at where you rank him and you think about it in Dynasty. And you rank him where I do, which is running back 20.
And he's going right now off the board ADP as the running back 22.
Right, but I think it's very clear there's 19 running backs. Almost everyone would take ahead of him. And then you get to Montgomery, Sanders, and Jacobs.
Jonathan Taylor did do most of his damage against softer run defenses as well.
The difference between these two players is that Jonathan Taylor is actually good, and that David Montgomery is not. He's okay. That's the difference.
We also don't we haven't with David Montgomery. We had like a year and a half of like garbage. We didn't get that with Jonathan Taylor. He doesn't have that behind him right now. Also, how was everyone wrong about Ertz supposedly gone from Eagles roster? He could still be gone. I don't think it's over.
I do. I think that he will play for the Eagles in 2021, and I pretty much have it ranked as that's essentially the case.
PJ says this show is way better than tacos. That's high praise. I think that's the highest praise we've ever gotten right there.
Look, when I have rankings done, as if sometimes I do rankings leaning towards something. That's not the case in this case. I've already changed it.
Do you rank this show over tacos?
Oh, I hate tacos. So sure. Tacos are bad for you.
I just want to get you to break every now and then where we get into some kind of foolishness or something.
I see. But the people don't want that.
It usually happens at the 3.5 hour mark. So stick around.
People don't want that.
How did Eagles not?
Because the Eagles management is incompetent.
I think also because nobody wants to pay.
Nobody wants Ertz, and the Eagles management is incompetent.
Elijah Mitchell.
Sure.
Maybe.
It's a nice flyer.
Yeah. When it's going to surprise people.
That's very unlikely.
The people who believe in him and the people that don't. Because he's going to surprise people. That's true.
I think he's going to be a very big surprise after his first 3 interception game.
It's pronounced Owen. Gaelic Irish. I love that. I appreciate the extra info there. Gaelic Irish. Owen. Swift over CEH. Not close.
That's not
it's
true.
Close. It's close.
That's not true that Mahomes doesn't throw to his running backs. We don't know that.
Andy Reid
has a history of throwing to his running backs.
Yep. Tyler's Patreon helps out a lot. True.
Yeah. I would recommend that people sign up for it.
Henry says, I know I asked you already, but I still have the trade pending. If I want to accept getting Akers and giving Rager and a second next year, how strongly do you feel I should be taking it?
Very
On a scale of 1 to
strongly.
10, how strongly?
10.
I feel.
What is Rager and a late second doing for you? What is that doing for you? Nothing.
I have renewed hope.
Worthless. Worthless. With Zach Ertz staying there, I want Rager even less than I did before. So, absolutely not. I don't want this. It's total crap on the other side. What if Akers beats the odds? The upside on that side is everything, and the upside on the other side is nothing. 10 out of 10 is how strongly I feel.
I'll say
Take
7.
Akers.
I don't feel strongly. Who dat? Meaning who dat starting QB?
We're not talking about this again.
Look, Rubik's. We've talked a lot about this. The short answer is Tyler thinks it's going to be a combination. I think it's going to be.
That's not what I think.
That's what you've said. Okay, then tell me what you think.
I mean, I think that Jameis Winston's going to be a starter.
Okay. But if Jameis is a starter, Taysom's not going away.
Well, I mean,
He's going to play his role.
I'm expecting whatever you want to call it was when Brees was the starter. So if you don't call that Jameis being the clear starter, fine. But that's what I'm expecting, is that Jameis to be what Brees was.
MT shot of his ankle to get back earlier against doctor's advice. Now look, he thinks he's smarter than he is.
Well, that I very much agree with.
Fantasy condo. But you know what? Like, also there's some toughness there. Like, I think we see what we want to see. We either like him or we don't. And we interpret it.
We don't see what we want to see.
One way if we like him and one way if we don't.
No. We don't see what we want to see because MT used to be one of my favorite players. It's not like I've always disliked him. He was one of my favorite players for many years. But now I see what he really is. I used to like Carson Wentz. Like, you have to understand, like, it's not like I have a bias against these people. But when the reports start to come out that they care about themselves more than the team and that they're, there's all
him caring about getting out there with the team, though. That's what this is.
Well, he cared about the team so much that he punched someone else in the middle of practice. I mean, that's how much he cared. So he got suspended. The team suspended him. And then the team wanted to get rid of him and wanted to void all the guaranteed money in his contract. So he was so committed to the team that's what actually happened. So, typically I just don't. When players are causing problems, that means they could cause a problem for your fantasy team. And I don't want to have a problem on my fantasy team because that's stressful. When you're managing, when you're managing dynasty teams, when you're managing a lot of them, every situation that's stressful that you have to deal with adds another layer of something you have to deal with. People don't factor that in. People don't factor in that there's a practical management to this stuff. It's not so simple. If you have to deal with every week, there's MT. He is going to play. He's not going to play. He's here. Oh, no, he's not coming to work today. Oh, no, actually he is. If you have to deal with that every single week, that's a major inconvenience. And then you can never trade him because there's so much uncertainty around him. People don't factor all of that in. I mean, these practical considerations, and this is what I talk about with my Patreon more than anything, is that there's these practical considerations and actually managing the dynasty team that goes beyond just a simple player eval. So that's why I don't want MT on my team. It's a lot of that too, because there are a lot of people who feel the same way that I do. And if they feel the same way that I do, what does that mean? They're not going to trade for him. They're not going to draft him. What does that mean? His market value is lower because there are people who feel this way and that reduces his market value. So I'm just telling you that you're going to have a hard time trading him because of this. So that's why I don't want him. He's not going to carry the trade value.
Fantasy condo, Darrell Henderson or a 2022 second round pick. 10 team half PPR super flex.
Darrell Henderson, easily. It's kind of the same as the other answer for Akers. I don't believe in Henderson, right? I don't think Henderson is very good. I think Henderson is a jag. I think Henderson is a timeshare back. I think he's a timeshare back and a jag. So not good in either respect. I don't think he's very good on the touches he gets, and I don't think that he's going to get a lot of them. I don't think he can handle a lot of them. Sean McVay himself said that they see him more as a timeshare back. That's what he is. But let's put the universe out there in which I was wrong. I was wrong about that. And he beat the odds. What has more upside? Darrell Henderson beating the odds or a future second round pick? Which you don't even see this year. Next year, you get a second round pick. What has more upside? Which of those two things has more upside? Right? I mean, this is not a decision. It's easily Darrell Henderson. So give me Darrell Henderson over second.
Yeah, which AJ said thinks Tyler's going to agree.
Oh, he's wrong about that. Yeah, I did. He's wrong that I wouldn't agree.
Over a second. Hope he does something to trade for a first. I think he's hard to trade right now because of the comment.
No, that's exactly what I would like to do. That's it. No, AJ makes a very good point. I like his point here. I would love to trade for Henderson, trade a second for Henderson. And then during the season, if he's doing well and I could sell for a first, I would love to do that. And then I turn the second into a first. And if it doesn't work out, I could, he's going to return some value this year. He's not going to be worthless unless he gets hurt. He's going to be, a flex level player, low end RB2 to flex level player. That's his floor. So for a second, that's fine. So why not buy him for a second? You only have upside with no downside. But yes, if he started to do well, I would look to sell for a first in season. Of course.
Damon says picking at the turn, pick 2, Diggs, Hopkins,
redraft.
Gibson, Najee
of
Harris, redraft PPR.
Just given the way the landscape is, just give me Harris and Eckler.
Yeah.
These receivers are not good enough.
Pick up the turn. Interesting.
In redraft, I mean, we don't want to talk too much about redraft because it's one thing to talk about 21 rankings. You know, that's an interesting way to talk about redraft, but like to talk about what you actually do in a redraft draft is like not too much of what we want to do here. But, you know, we don't really want to get too much into the redraft like strategy, but just suffice it to say that it would be taking running backs. And for me, in 2021, I have these guys, Eckler, Harris, Gibson in that order. So Eckler and Harris would be my picks.
Local liability says...
Well, then you're making the case for why they should trade Patrick. If that's how you feel, maybe if they could get a 4th-round pick for Patrick from the Saints, they should do that. Then they should do that if that's how you feel. They should trade Patrick to the Saints if that's what you believe. I'm not a big KJ Hamler person. I agree. I don't think it's that different between the two. I'd rather keep Hamler for the upside, though, because he's younger.
TK says Waves Runs is trying to tank. Why trade for a good wide receiver?
Who said they were trying to tank?
Yeah, they're not.
I think both of us think they're trying to win. I think they're going to fail at doing so, but I think they're trying to win. I just don't think they're doing a very good job. So they didn't prepare. That's what happens when you don't prepare. When you don't prepare for a possible injury, then you get left in this situation where you have no replacement. You need to prepare as an NFL team, prepare for injury. That's why as a fantasy team, as the same thing, same advice applies. If you're a contender and you only have good starters and no depth, what if you get to week 13 and then you have 3 injuries and then you're unprepared? You need to be prepared. So, you know, failing to prepare is preparing to fail, right? That's what I would say about this situation.
As far as Henderson goes, his current value is greater than a future second, but I suspect the Rams sign someone who is cut. So if you're a gambler, stay with Henderson or get a first in a trade.
Like Henderson's value before all of this was still like a couple of thirds. Like Henderson's value before this was worth more than a third. So like, no matter who they sign, he's going to be worth more than a second. So
yep. We do have a super chat.
I'd love to trade him for a first if that's available. I'd love to get a first in Superflex.
We talked about Henderson. Pull up a super chat.
Yeah, it's not a question, but thank you for the fire you bring each and every week, every Tuesday. Hashtag failure free. Yes, that you need to come to this show to avoid failure. Because if you come to this show, then you won't fail. That's the thing. We'll make sure that you succeed.
You are in rare form tonight. You are extra fired up.
Oh, I think
this is the most fired up I've seen you, I think.
Well, you know, there's just been a lot of questions that have been getting me fired up. And honestly, like, this has just been so much news this week. We really haven't even talked about Aaron Rodgers. We haven't even talked about all that. So, you know, I talked about it last night, too. So I had a little bit of a dress rehearsal. I did a surprise live show on my podcast with you know, someone did a double with us. Not Too Frosty podcasted with me and then with you.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Let's move on. We appreciate the super chat. We appreciate the praise. And honestly, like, just with everything that's been going on, like, I appreciate that people find this show enjoyable. I know that like whatever is going on, it's difficult, but this is supposed to be fun. We want to have fun. Like I have fun doing this show. This is the highlight of my week. And I always hear from a lot of the viewers and all of you guys in the chat that you also enjoy this show. And that makes me happy. It almost makes me want to cry, like out of happiness. So we appreciate those kind of sentiments. And it's the kind of stuff that guarantees that this show is not going anywhere. We will continue to be doing this show. Because I know how, like, that kind of emotional response and how much good it's been doing for us and the community.
And Aaron, yeah, I second that. Thank you for supporting the show. And thank you for coming on the team series a bunch. Like, you're always in there in the comments. I appreciate that. Anybody watching that, make sure you're checking out those team previews. Those go live as well, where we break down every specific teams, and it's some really fun guests. So get in there and interact as well. What about in terms of picks? How much would you say that Michael Thomas is worth?
In Superflex, if you give me a first, I'm out.
Agreed. PJ is just crushing the Saints today. Just totally crushing all of the Saints.
I mean, at this point, I'm now done talking about the Saints quarterbacks because I no longer want them. Like, yep. I no longer, we talked about it a lot before because I thought it was relevant. Either way, I would have wanted the starter. Now, without Michael Thomas, I have no interest in whoever starts games for the Saints. So I just don't see it as relevant. I would be getting both. If I'm in Dynasty, they're both hard sells for me. I want them both off my team. Because now I don't want them. It's like how I don't want Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater. Like I just get rid of them for me. I'll take a different situation.
Diggs and Harris there is what Ed said. Rubik's Cube is Michael Thomas going to be Kawhi Leonard. Doesn't talk to the team or teammates about
maybe I don't know. I don't know enough about basketball.
Yeah, he reminds me of a basketball player in that sense. Rubik's. He's taking control of his career in a lot of ways, in the same way that the NBA players have. That I think there's some good, but I don't think people like it. I think people they don't like when players think for themselves, speak up for themselves, and take their career into their own hands in that way. People just don't. People don't respond, and it is what it is. But Adam says I'd go Diggs and Eckler on that question earlier, and we said Harris and Eckler. I think Harris is. I'd rather have Harris than Eckler. I do like Eckler, but a lot of love for Diggs here in the chat.
I mean, running back's harder to replace.
I think Alvin Kamara is going to catch like 100 passes. I don't think we're. I don't think we can
quarterback.
No, I think that it doesn't matter who the quarterback is.
I'm in on Kamara at his ADP if Jameis is the quarterback. With Taysom, I'm fine with Kamara, but I'm probably out at his ADP. In Dynasty, Kamara is a sell for me no matter what.
We talked about this.
Absolutely not. There's no way. They've already moved on from. No, actually, they've made it clear that they do want to trade Deshaun Watson. They said that they
don't want to trade him for cheap. I think
they don't want to trade him for cheap, but they don't want him.
Yeah.
They want him off their team. They want to clean their hands of this. They want him gone. It's not like the Packers with Rodgers who wanted him back desperately. This is not that. They want him out. They want him out. They just don't want to give him away for nothing.
Watson to Philly.
Remember that Watson has a no trade clause.
He does.
So Watson's going to go where he wants to go, and it will not be Denver because he does not want to go there.
Which is part of why they don't like. It was part of why the Texans don't have the leverage they think they do.
I don't think the Texans have much of any leverage. I mean, they're going to trade him whenever the situation is resolved and whenever the suspension or whatever comes down or the exemption comes down. He's going to be traded at a point, and they're not going to get the return they think they're going to.
Nate in the house doing.
We love you, Nate.
Yeah, it's Thursday, I think. Yeah, pretty sure it's Thursday. We're doing the Detroit show. Nate's going to be on there. That's going to be awesome. PJ says Tyler's a genius.
Thank you.
I'm smoking crack and you're a genius. This is fun.
I think that Cal is a genius to put up with me. That's what I think.
I'm just gonna bring popcorn next time because when you go on your rants like that, I'm just gonna start eating my popcorn.
Look, when it comes to something like Deshaun Watson, I can go on a rant for a long time because I think it's warranted.
You made a good point earlier about the exemption list.
Look, I mean, I graduated from grad school on this and sports management in 2019. I went to Columbia. Like I went to an Ivy League school. Like we had like speakers from the NFL come and talk to us. So like I have some idea, including ones who worked in like the diversity department or the handling the PR department. So I have some experience with what they're talking about and what they're thinking, more than your common person does. So trust me, they will not be allowing Watson to play while there are criminal charges pending against him. That will not happen. Trust me.
Don't apologize for getting Tyler revved up. That's what we're here for.
No, it's actually necessary. It's necessary. It's not to get me revved up, but it's necessary to talk about it because you have dynasty managers who are wondering what to do. And you have a lot of, you know what you have on the Watson situation? You have a lot of bad information. You have a lot of bad information. You have a lot of people just saying things like Deshaun Watson will return to play for the Texans. He will not. He will not. They can say that, but he will not. So you have people not really understanding the PR situation or the exact situation the NFL finds themselves in from a PR and, like a shield standpoint. So you have people who don't really get the dynamics there, and they're just giving their opinion based on, well, he's there now, so he's going to play. No, that's not the case. So, this is an important time to get like real information out there about the situation and what actually will and will not happen, and what the NFL process is on the matter. This is in relation to the redraft question.
The running back drop off is awful. And
I agree. I agree with him. Yeah. That's why I wanted to take 2 running backs at the 1-2 turn. That's what I wanted to do. So I totally agree.
Local says David Johnson is a good old man running back.
No. Why? No. We don't want that. I mean, we have the worst offense in history, and we're going to be in a timeshare with Philip Lindsay, who was just as good probably at this point in his career.
Who's going to win? He's going to win the job. Philip Lindsay is the guy.
I don't think Philip Lindsay is the guy, but I think in that backfield, it's got to be like 80-20 for me to want anybody, and it's not going to be. So
I'm rooting for Philip Lindsay so hard.
I have David Johnson ranked as RB 38 and Philip Lindsay for the year, and Philip Lindsay at like RB 44.
Yeah, that's
so
fair.
No.
He's just a guy that I root for. There's certain guys that you root for in the league.
Philip Lindsay is one of those guys that I root for. The time I went to the NFL offices, they had a presentation about Philip Lindsay and how, he was like his marketing in the because he was, he's from Denver. He went to Colorado for college. So how he became a Pro Bowler and how they, it was when Denver actually liked him. How they were using him as like part of their marketing, local marketing. So I do have a soft spot for Philip Lindsay.
PJ says Barkley is...
Yes, in Dynasty, Barkley's worth more because Barkley's going to probably return for week 1, and MT is already on the PUP. Is already 6 weeks missed.
But is anybody arguing Michael Thomas is...
No, nobody's arguing it.
Over Barkley? So
no, nobody's arguing that.
Also, Pat Mahomes is good, PJ.
I agree with that. I think that Patrick Mahomes is a generational quarterback. I agree. That's my stance on Patrick Mahomes.
Also, Christian McCaffrey over MT.
That's a great point. I think that Christian McCaffrey is going to score a lot of fantasy points this year.
Yes.
I do. I really do.
Who's cute? Allen Robinson, sometimes Keenan Allen, and upside Deontay Johnson.
I don't know what this is in reference to. Keep in mind that when we scroll through the comments, Cal and I are often scrolling in 2 different places. So if your comment is a comment on something, we might not get it.
Yeah.
Or we might have forgotten where we were.
Let's see.
There's so many comments it can get.
Yeah, which is good. Keep them coming.
Oh, it is good.
Yes, keep them coming. Is Emmanuel Sanders an every week flex 2 starter?
I don't even know what that is. But
if Cole Beasley, like in other words, like your second flex, like if you got like 2 starting spots for a wide receiver, 2 spots for a running back, and 2 flexes.
No, absolutely not.
Like your wide receiver 4.
No.
Yeah, probably not.
Also, Cole Beasley is not going to retire. What is that? That's not happening.
He already said he's not going to retire. He said they're going to have to cut him, so he's not going to retire.
And that might happen, but he's not going to retire.
He's not retiring. PJ says maybe equals failure. I don't know what that's in regards to either. Michael Thomas is scaring everybody. All the injuries seem like dead.
I would be very scared. I'm out. But we haven't heard a lot of Thomas specific trades. Get your trades in.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. Get the likes going on the stream, people. Come on. What are we doing? Like it. Hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed. All those good things. We're an hour and 39 minutes into the show now, and we got a long way to go. So keep those comments coming in. We are like 40 minutes behind in the comments, but we are going to get to every single one of them that we can. If you want to jump the line, there is a super chat option, and you can get your comment in there, and we will read it. We'll do our best to get to everything, though. Don't worry about that. Dylan Vergara says, what's a fair price for a rebuilding team to buy Watson, a 12-team Superflex?
You can't. Like,
you really can't.
No, you can't buy him because Watson is... I've just generally found I don't want to buy him. Now, I've been in Patreon startups and I've drafted him in like 4 of them. So I found that I'm more interested in drafting him than I am in buying him. I'm not really buying him. Drafting him, I mean, there was a Superflex startup. He went in the late 4th. That's too late. That's too late. I mean, it's just whatever you think. I mean, I get it if you don't want to take him, but I gotta, I mean, look, especially when I'm doing Patreon, I'm literally getting paid money to give people advice to tell them how to win, not how to make them feel better. Like, I have to recommend that they take Watson in the late 4th. When it comes to buying, I'd probably send out an offer of a first. And if that doesn't get it done, I'd probably just move on.
Yep. His surgery, I think this is in reference to Saquon.
But yeah, I believe I've been in Patreon startups, and I think I've drafted him in almost all of the last 6 that I've done. So
yeah,
to give you an idea, people are more down on Watson, I think, than I am at this point.
Rubix says, I traded Watson for Mike Davis, McCole Hardman, future 2022 first, and a 2022 second in a 16-team.
Man, that's a terrible trade. I'm sorry.
I don't like the return at all.
Terrible. That's a terrible trade.
Sorry, Rubix.
That's a terrible trade. I'm sorry.
Great name, though, Rubix. I'll give you that.
I
love the way you... Rubik's Cubed. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but I just... In a 16-team Superflex, quarterback is everything, and a first is much bigger value range. It could be anything from 1 to 16 instead of 1 to 12. This is a horrible trade. I'm sorry.
Sometimes when we don't understand where comments come from, it's just funny. I have no idea what this is in reference to. It could be anything.
Can we go back to the previous question? But nobody wanted to pay him a big deal. They all wanted a 1-year proven deal.
Sure. Yeah.
The big money wasn't there for him.
Yeah, sure.
Can we go back to the previous question? I have more to say about that.
Okay, sure.
Look, you might as well, if you're going to do this, you can't do this. You have to hold Watson. This is just, in a 16-team Superflex, 32 quarterbacks are started every week. That means all of them. That means the quarterback scarcity is extreme. Quarterbacks in a 16-team Superflex would be my first 11 selections and would constitute most of the second round as well. On top of that, I cannot imagine a situation where one of my first 2 picks would not be a quarterback. And I think that all the starting quarterbacks would be gone by the end of round 3. So even Deshaun Watson would be a first-round pick in this format because of the quarterback scarcity. So this is really bad.
Go ahead and pull that super chat up.
Sorry. I wish I could have prevented it. Oh, I pretty much answered this, actually.
Adam, how early should a team draft Watson as their second QB in a startup? Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're drafting Deshaun Watson, you have to prepare for him to not play this year. So a lot of where I've drafted Deshaun Watson are in the Patreon ones are where he falls far enough to be my second or third quarterback, second or third. Like we drafted like Dak in the first, and then we're coming around for a second quarterback with Watson in the 4th. I don't like waiting, and I don't think he's going to play this year, but I mean, yeah, if I have a quarterback already and then 2 other strong players in rounds 2 and 3, and Watson has fallen to the 4th, I'm comfortable in the 4th taking him.
It's weird sometimes to go off the ADP for Superflex leagues, but we do have Deshaun Watson as the QB 17 going at number 36 according to DLF.
Too low. I have him as the quarterback 12.
Yeah. And again, he's 25. Look, if this thing gets sorted out and he's back in the league and starting for a team next year, he's going to be a top 3 to 5 quarterback, ADP wise.
Not sure that's true.
I mean, maybe 4. Like if he's back and starting somewhere, like if he's the starting quarterback for Miami next year or for Philly.
Look,
and all this stuff's behind him.
Of things happen. The value is never quite the same if they're guilty.
Sure. Like
with Kareem Hunt, the value's never been the same because he was guilty.
No. Tyreek Hill,
but Tyreek Hill, we still don't really know. We know Tyreek Hill was guilty the first time in college, but with the second time, it's not clear. It's not clear. We don't know. We don't really know we still do not know what happened.
He'll be 26. He'll be like I said. If
Watson is guilty, keep in mind if Watson is guilty,
then what I'm saying is not true. It's not going to be behind him at the start of next year if he is.
No. But what I'm saying is, I think Watson is guilty, but he's going to be guilty and come back to the NFL anyway.
Yeah.
So he's going to be guilty, and I think that stigma is going to carry on him and his value for a little bit. Actually, probably forever. Like, I don't think he's innocent. I think he's guilty. And if he's guilty, then he's not going to get the dynasty value back. But he's going to get some dynasty value back. But I don't think he's ever going to be a first-round starter pick again.
So you're taking him in the second round?
Oh, I didn't say that. I said I was taking him in the 4th round.
Oh, okay. 4th round. In a super flex?
Yes. In the 4th round. I would love to take him in the 4th round.
Okay. ADP is going at number 36. So
that's fine. That's the last pick of the 3rd.
Yeah.
I have him ranked at 31, which is actually higher, but I've not found the need to take him there. I've actually seen in real draft, in a mock, people are willing to take Deshaun Watson, but in a real draft, people do not want to take Deshaun Watson. He's been available in the 4th in every single one. So I would wait. I'm fine not getting him. I'm believe me, I'm fine not having Deshaun Watson on my team. So I will wait until the 4th to draft him. I would like to have 3 players on my team and Deshaun Watson be my 4th player. I don't want him as my 3rd player in a startup. I'm not really comfortable with that. I'm fine waiting and missing out if that's what happens. Believe me, I can live without Deshaun Watson on my team. Trust me on that.
Thank you, Adam, for the super chat. Hopefully, we've definitely had a lot of Deshaun Watson talk here tonight.
And we have another. And the next one is another Deshaun. The next super chat is another Deshaun Watson question.
Go ahead, pull it up.
We got it flipped. I acquired Watson. Well, then we like it. Then we like it. So that sounds like a great idea. Usually, when it's something for something, the right is what you're getting, and the left is what you're giving away. So, we were a little confused. But
why do you hate tacos? That's the most important part of this question.
Is this really necessary?
Yes.
I don't like talking. Look, I don't like talking about food too much on the show. But let's just say that I am a health nut, and I don't really eat things like tacos. I eat kind of the same thing every day. Like I really enjoy being healthy, and I just don't eat tacos. But I don't. This is not something I really want to talk about.
Have you ever been to a Chipotle?
Yes.
Did you like it?
It was 7 years ago. And
really?
Yeah, I think so. I think it did.
All right. Is there do you remember the best taco you've ever eaten?
No. Do we have questions that people actually want the answers to?
I don't know.
They don't care. Nobody cares what tacos I eat.
I don't know if anybody else gets a kick out of it, but
no, they don't. They don't get a kick.
Seeing your disdain for the nonsense questions.
Okay, maybe they get a kick out of that. Maybe they get a kick out of that, but nobody actually wants to hear about my taco eating habits.
Your disdain for me asking nonsense questions always is a kick to me. I hope.
Well, that might be interesting. The disdain is probably interesting. It's probably better that I give the disdain and don't actually answer the question then, because that's what the people actually want. They want a little bit of a rant, a little bit of disdain. They don't actually care about my taco stories. But let's move on. Oh, I do remember. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll tell a taco story. I remember one time I had tacos. I went to a bar. It was on Friday. You could if you got a pitcher of beer. This was back in the days when I would drink beer. You got free tacos. I remember eating those tacos. They were disgusting. They were horrible.
Tractor.
They were free.
12-team Superflex, 2 PPR tied in. Wow. DJ Moore or Bateman, Jacob Harris, and a 2023 first.
It's a fair deal, but I'll take the opposing side of Moore. It's just a lot, I think. A lot, right? I mean, I'm going to add a first to Bateman. Okay, so like Moore is not even worth 2 firsts. So, in a super flex. So, I'm going to add a first to Bateman. I mean, 2023 first and Bateman, is Moore really worth more than that? Probably not, right? So, like,
yeah, I think you're right. Because even if Jacob Harris is nothing, and look, it's exciting, but there's a chance that he's just nothing.
Yeah, he could be nothing. But then you still have a first and Bateman. That's just right. Super flex. In a super flex, when it's a non-stud and DJ Moore is not a stud, I'm going to lean toward the side that has a first very often because it gives you the chance at a stud quarterback. And you will never be able to buy a stud quarterback for DJ Moore. So you have the chance at a stud quarterback with another decent receiver and a good tight end flyer who I really like in Jacob Harris. He's actually one of my favorite flyers at this time.
PJ says Juju needs AB to make him good.
I will say in redraft, I have AB ranked ahead of Juju now.
I had like a funny article, or I guess it wasn't, in other words, it wasn't a serious article, kind of a satire article where I predicted in free agency, both of them were unrestricted free agents. I said they were both going to go to Miami. Like, how funny would it have been if they would have ended up together in Miami?
I don't think AB wants to play with Poo Smith Pooster anymore. That's what he called him. That's what he called him.
Been, though? It would have been fun if they ended up together. Like,
there's no way that
in Miami.
There's no way that would have worked.
Excited.
That wouldn't have worked though.
No, of course not. But it'd be must-see television.
Oh. All right, let's move on.
Is Zeke a top 5 Dynasty running back?
No. Why would he be?
Could he be a top 5 finisher in fantasy points this year?
Yes, and it wouldn't matter. He still wouldn't be top 5.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to get out of you right there.
No, he's not a top 5 for this.
Bishop says, who wins this trade?
Too many names.
All right. Alvin Kamara, Laviska Shenault, Rojo, a third, a fifth, and another fifth.
No. This is stupid. I mean, it's the Kamara side by a mile.
Mike Davis, Kamara, Cooper, and 108?
Kamara alone is worth almost that.
Yeah.
And Shenault, I mean, yeah. No, this is the Kamara side.
Yeah, Kamara side for sure.
I mean, it has like extra pieces. I mean, Rojo and Mike Davis carry similar value to me. And Kamara is worth more than Cooper in the 108. And then there's Shenault and a third. I mean, this is not a close trade. It's easily team A is the victor. And yeah, some people are asking about like Packers talk. I mean, look, we talk about what's being talked about in the chat. So
yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. But like, if we don't usually do like, if there was news today, like about something, you know, the Packers news was kind of yesterday. I already talked about, I talked about it on a show yesterday and we talked about it on Twitter already. If it were like breaking, we'd talk about it, but specifically, but otherwise, no, we just go with what's in the chat. So
this is your show. Ask DLF.
Yeah, if you guys want us to talk about the Packers, we'll talk about it.
Yep. Put a comment up there. We will talk about it.
If not, then not.
Because
there's been a lot of news recently. We could talk about a lot of things.
Oh, okay. This was the continuation. Is Javonte Williams being overrated this year? I feel like Melvin isn't going anywhere and is still a decent running back. Timeshare on a bad.
Well, this is a good example of he's being overrated in the tiny little bubble that we live in. We live in a universe in which every rookie is going to be amazing right away because Dynasty Twitter is like young, and like old is like dead. Mm-hmm. Now, you might think that I live in that universe, right? I say that I'm an ageist all the time. Mm-hmm. But that's because I look more than 6 games ahead. I want to accumulate value long-term to set up healthy dynasty teams for long-term and not have a bunch of orphans. So is Javonte Williams being overrated this year? Depends on who you ask. If you're asking your redraft analysts or people like from your redraft sites, like the Ballers and Fantasy Pros, not really. I don't think he's being overrated. I think he's being properly rated. If anything, he's a little underrated. If you ask Dynasty analysts, especially some that I've heard, yeah, he's being way overrated. He's not going to be an RB1 this year. That's very unlikely with the quarterbacks that they have as well. So is he being overrated is a tough question. I like his current Dynasty price. And
RB19.
And I'm in at that price. I have him higher. But
that's not where he should be in redraft.
That is correct.
And I think that's the difference here, Tony, is like if he's going that far in redraft, it's different.
Yeah, RB19 is a bridge too far for me in redraft.
Yeah. 100%.
I think I have him like RB25. I can check. I'm one of the people in redraft who has Javonte ahead of Gordon. I think that's correct to have Javonte ahead of Gordon.
But the righty's not going away. I mean, like he can be toast and still be trusted by the coaching staff.
Yeah, so I have Javonte Williams, and I mean, maybe I'm a little bullish on him. I mean, I have Javonte Williams even in PPR at RB24. And I have Melvin Gordon at RB32 for this year.
Caleb says, how much stock do you put into how good your league mates teams are when thinking of buying or selling? The previous champ is about to get Henry.
I can answer this question. I can answer this question in a very simple 0. Right? I mean,
how much stock do you put into it in what way, though? When you're thinking of like,
0,
I take it into account in terms of like whether I think I'm competing or not, and whether I'm deciding if I'm going to rebuild or not.
But if you make it to the playoffs, you have a chance of winning. So I'm not really looking at team number 1. I'm looking at. I'm not looking at a specific team. I'm looking at where I rank in all the teams. But like, one monster team is not going to scare me away from competing because anyone can have a bad week. I've definitely won many leagues where I was not the best team. So, like, the specific context of this question, I would say 0. Do I ever do something like that?
And this is like, looks like there's a top heavy part of this team, but I don't know that this team is somebody I'd say couldn't be beat, depending on what your team is.
Yeah, I mean, it depends, right?
Got it way over Fant. Oh, PJ. No.
Yeah. I mean, no.
It's too far. It's too far.
Well, I mean, it's wrong considering I have Fant higher.
Will, what's up, Will? Thank you for your question and tuning in. And for anybody who is just tuning in for the first time, we're coming up on the hour number 2 mark, going into our 3rd hour. And hey, we're only halfway there. We're excited to get to all these questions. I have a feeling we're definitely not going to be less than 4 hours tonight. We've got so many questions coming in. And that's what we're here for. We're going to
we will be here for that.
Absolutely. Get your questions in. Keep them coming. We appreciate it. We appreciate your question, Will. 16-team league. I'm 2 overall this year. I guess that meends draft pick number 2. I'm not sure. Yeah. Draft pick number 2 in his rookie draft. 90% Najee is going 1. We'll end up having a wide receiver core of DK, AJ Brown, Jamar Chase, Higgins, Kupp, Chark, and Marvin Jones. Can only start 4 wide receivers. Should I be trying to flip DJ or Kupp?
No, I mean, you need depth. Not necessarily. No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can try to trade Kupp anyway. I don't know.
I do think you can get to a place. It depends on what the rest of your team looks like, Will. But I mean,
this is not deep enough at a position to make me want to go away from that position.
In a 16-team league, this is pretty deep.
It's a lot. Yeah, I don't know how you accumulated all these players, but yeah, I mean, sure, but don't just make a bad trade because you have needs.
Yes, exactly. Don't
Like,
do anything silly, but
I'm fine trading Cup.
Right, but I don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Like, what running back are you getting for Cup?
I mean, I'm not really interested in trading DK, AJ Brown, Jamar Chase, or Higgins at their prices. So I would be fine with trading Cup, but what are you getting? I mean, right? That's what you
right.
decide. I don't know what that means.
Easy way to be mediocre. I don't know either.
I mean, the way to avoid mediocrity, is to listen to this show. I listen to this show every week because I want to go back over my own advice and make sure that I'm listening to it. So I listen to this show. So if it's good enough for me, it's good enough for you.
Words to live by. Adam says the Broncos may cut Melvin Gordon.
They will not cut Melvin Gordon.
I don't expect
that is not true.
I think we do this sometimes where we're like, oh, they're old, they're washed up, the team's just going to cut them. But like, we underestimate how much like coaches like veterans. Like coaches like don't necessarily have to have somebody that's going to get them a home run every time.
Melvin Gordon. If the Rams called and we're like, we have a 3rd round pick available for you, maybe we could have Melvin Gordon. They'd find a way to deal with Javonte Williams, Mike Boone, Royce Freeman, and maybe sign Adrian Peterson off the scrap heap and take a 3rd round pick for Melvin Gordon. I think they would do that. But I don't think they're just going to flat out cut him. Melvin Gordon has gas left in the tank. There was nothing wrong with Melvin Gordon last season. He was good. He was good. Boring. Good and boring. He shouldn't be released. He wasn't bad. And they wouldn't save a lot of money, and they'd pay him like $8 million in dead cap. So I'm not seeing them releasing Melvin Gordon personally. Paying $8 million to have Gordon not play for them? I don't think that's gonna happen.
Some more Fant debate going on down here. Ed talking about the quarterback. PJ says Fant is the next. I love this.
Ed's opinion is part of why I'm not in on Fant. If you're gonna succeed as a tertiary weapon as a tight end, you better have a stud quarterback, and he does not. So I agree with Ed's point. If Fant had Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback, I might say Aaron Rodgers can support a tertiary tight end weapon. But I'm not in on Locke or Bridgewater supporting a tight end as a tertiary. So that would be a no for me currently on Fant, but it could change. That's why I'm not totally out on Fant, because situations change.
Denver needs Watson. Okay, still Evans now. Sure.
I was telling you, Watson will not be there. So they'll be waiting forever for that. Watson has a no trade clause and he doesn't want to play in Denver.
I don't know if Cooper's going to leave or if Gallup will. It might be Gallup.
Going to leave. Gallup's going to leave. I'm pretty sure about that at this point.
Who's winning the starting QB job?
Oh, man. Lock.
Yeah, probably Lock. Did you see that Sean Payton said in 2019 that Taysom Hill was ahead of Teddy Bridgewater on the depth chart?
Oh, that was a mistake.
Crazy. So yeah, Lock's winning. Fines are mandatory now and more harsh. Yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier. That I was trying to compare those situations. That's why Ertz is there. I don't think it's
not why Ertz situation
is different.
No, Ertz and the Eagles. I read the articles about this. There were articles published about this. Ertz and the Eagles resolved their differences, and he has agreed to show up and play for them for the 2021 season. There are no more issues. Like their differences, it's like Aaron Rodgers. Their differences have been resolved. There were issues, and those, whatever those were, have been resolved. Zach Ertz will, barring a change, like I think at this point, the Eagles are done making calls. Unless someone calls them with a very tempting offer, which, by the way, given Ertz's oversized contract, I do not think is coming. Ertz will play for the Eagles in 2021. His issues with the Eagles have been resolved, whatever they were. Go look it up. Go look up the reporting on that. But no, I believe the issues have been resolved.
I believe you. I missed that.
No, this is what I spend all my time doing. I spend all my time. This is what I'm doing. I'm looking for these things. I'm looking for these little nuggets that I can pass along so other people don't have to look for them. But I do believe that the situation between Ertz and the Eagles is solved. So I expect Ertz to play for the Eagles unless someone calls them. And I do not expect that call to come.
Joel asks, as a team in rebuild mode, who would be some key targets to go after? What would you offer for said targets?
Well, my first targets are picks, right? Because picks don't get hurt. Picks don't get hurt, and picks go up in value until the minute they're on the clock. So that's always my first target, right?
Favorite thing you can do. Yep.
Right. So now I'm willing to go for 2022 and I'm willing to go for 2023. 2024 is too far away, but I'm willing to target the next 2 years and just deal with that. Because the 2023 class is a lot better. So if I can get 2023 picks at a discount, not at the same value, don't hear that. That's not what I'm saying. At a discount, if I can get 2023 picks at a discount, I'm fine targeting them over 2022 picks. Now, let's say you can't do that. Let's say you can't do that, right? So for some reason, someone already decided to rebuild and they already have most of the picks and you can't get them. So that's possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trade your running backs away and put your stock into wide receivers and young quarterbacks in Superflex. Those are the most likely to retain their value. Young wide receivers and young quarterbacks. Trade your running backs away.
Yep. Running backs last, right? I mean, that's kind of the last thing you're looking to add to your team when they're ready to compete.
And also running backs value are most dependent on their value right now. Mm-hmm. So just trade them away.
Yep. Yeffy Gaming is back. Appreciate you tuning back in, Yeffy. Loves Montgomery.
That's exactly. I don't see people
said earlier
punishing Montgomery.
Nope. This is Tyler, who hates tacos? Seriously.
Yes.
PJ, the only thing about Tyler I'm not a fan of is that he hates tacos. This is your least popular take. You've had some unpopular takes, but your hatred of tacos is your least favorite. Todd says you can make a healthy taco.
Okay. I don't care. Let's
over Rager in a second. Yeah, I think we said the same thing.
Yep.
You buying Rodgers?
Of course not. No. Why would I buy Rodgers now when his value just went up now that he's coming back? No. I'm not buying Rodgers now. No.
I can see this going two different ways. I can see him being like kind of checked out. I can also see him going like scorched.
If you were going to buy Rodgers, though, you missed your opportunity to buy Rodgers at a value.
I haven't decided which way I think this is going to go yet, but I
don't want it. I don't want Rodgers.
Yeah, I don't want him.
He's too old for me, even for a quarterback.
Okay, yep, A lot of good conversation. This is why you get your comments in here on YouTube because they get answered by a lot of
not a disappointment. That's a big lie.
What?
That's a lie. That's a lie. They disappointed. That's a lie that the mainstream Twitter would have you believe. It's a big lie. CEH disappointing. That's not what happened.
He did not. If Superflex look for QBs with big upside, but with questions like Hurts and Tua.
Tua has what upside? What upside does Tua have? Big upside? Where? Yes. What big upside? Where? Well, what is this alleged big upside? Hurts, yes. Hurts does have big upside. Tua, what upside? The upside that he can't run? The upside that he can't throw deep? What is this upside? Alleged upside that he doesn't have? No. This is not what you do in a Superflex when you're rebuilding. You don't want a lot of question marks. That's bad. These are not the kind of players you want. You want players that are insulated assets. You want to get Justin Fields. You want to get Trey Lance. You want to, especially because they're not going to start this year. They're not going to score you points in a rebuild. That's what you want. They don't score you points and then they go up in value. That's what you want in a rebuild. But no, you don't want this. I mean, Hurts is the exact opposite of what you want. He's going to score a lot of points and then could go down in value next year. That's a rebuild. You don't want that. Hurts is someone you want on a contender, not a rebuild. Tua, I understand a little bit more because, he could have long-term value and he's not really expected to produce much this year, but I just kind of think Tua is not ever going to be expected to produce much. So I don't want that. If I'm in a rebuild, I don't want players I don't want. I'll just trade them away for draft picks. So I'm just not going to have Tua.
Adam, more healthy taco talk.
You know what? The people should know that I do eat food because otherwise I would be dead. They should know that. The people do know that.
Rubik's Cubed says, look for players with good profiles, with good young breakout college metrics. Sure, there's a lot of really good details that you like. There's a lot of great articles on dynastyfootball.com that you can look up.
I love this comment. I love it.
Talk about
I should look for good players that were drafted highly that did well in college.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just that simple.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
I posted a tweet yesterday saying sometimes simple analysis is better than complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a good example of it.
That qualifies right there. Yep.
People really overthink things. There's they tell whole narratives and whole stories. And I'm like, man, if you're a narrative-based analyst, you're doing a lot of unnecessary work and a lot of unnecessary explanation for a lot of nothing. So yeah. Keep it simple.
I like narratives.
I mean, they're fun. They're fun.
They're fun.
But if that's actually how you're getting to conclusions,
no.
you're doing a lot of unnecessary thinking.
No. I like TV shows with good narratives. They're fun, but I'm not
those are
building
fun,
my life around them.
Narratives are more for entertainment than they are for analysis.
Joel, what's up, Joel? Thank you for your question. I've been able to, Joel, not I. Joel has been able to acquire 4 2022 first and 3 2023 first.
Okay.
Looking for players to invest some of that capital into for a rebuild and hang on to what looks like some higher.
But if we're in a rebuild, why are we trading the picks away? Why are we doing that? We don't want to do that. So we're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. You're going to hold on to the picks and wait for them to appreciate in value. Why are we trading for players? That's risky. Players can get injured.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want that. So we're not going to do that. So we're not going to be doing that.
There's nothing you can trade a future first for that is more guaranteed to gain value between now and then than the pick is. Nothing.
Right. So we're not going to be doing that.
No, do not do that. PJ says, wait, Tyler has a podcast?
Yes. It was live yesterday.
Tell the people about your podcast.
Well, I mean, it's called The Dynasty Duo. It's at The Dynasty Duo FF on Twitter. I don't talk about it too much. I mean, it's an independent podcast. It's not on the DLF feed. It's not. But to be fair, I talk about my Patreon all the time. That's not DLF either.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess I just haven't talked about my podcast a lot. It's similar to the show. I mean, the vibe is a little different. I don't talk as much. I only talk maybe 70% of the time instead of 90. But it's more structured. It's not live. Yesterday was a special show, but usually it's not live. You can find it on all your podcatchers at the Dynasty Duo.
I forgot to say this, but congrats are in order for Tyler. He went over 10K on Twitter.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Whatever. It's just a number. I don't care about the number of followers. I care about the number of people who are in this chat and watching right now.
Yes, keep that up.
They don't care how many followers I have. They care about me providing good analysis for the people.
I like Rubik's Cube. I think he or she is clever. There is no crying in football. Now, fantasy football.
I've definitely cried over fantasy football. I'll admit it.
Tyler Adam asks, have you watched all the TV show and movie recommendations for last week or just most of them?
Unfortunately, I was busy this week. I had things to do.
Tyler just doesn't have time for all that.
I haven't had time for that. I've been too busy looking at the beat reports to provide information, actionable information for the people.
Yeah. If you notice his reactions to anything that's not an actual question for advice over the course of 4 hours, if you notice his reaction, that's how he would react to somebody suggesting that he spend his time watching an episode of South Park.
I'll consider it.
Trey Sermon and Emmanuel Sanders, or
That's Miles Sanders.
Swift. Miles
better.
Sanders? I hope it's Miles Sanders. You're right. I don't know why I thought Emmanuel. That would make it way worse.
I'll take the one guy I like, Swift.
Yeah, I'll take Swift in this case.
It's not unreasonable though.
Nope.
I think you'd have to be in on both Sanders and Sermon to take that side though. And I'm, according to their ADPs, in on neither.
PJ says Washington would be a Super Bowl contender if they got Watson.
Right. So Deshaun Watson's gonna wait. He's gonna be so happy, right? He's gonna waive his no trade clause to leave Bob McNair. What's he gonna do? He's gonna waive his no trade clause to go to play with Dan Snyder. That's what he's gonna do, right? No.
He didn't say it was likely. He's just saying like.
You can say that, but that is it will not be happening.
It's
so
true.
You can forget about that.
Next. We can dream. We can speculate.
The dream was just crushed under my foot.
And I'm all the way back in on you, PJ. You love me. I love you too. I appreciate it.
Yes, that's how Cal is. Whoever loves him.
Really good comment here from Ed. There's a fine line between smoking crack and genius. That's true.
I got to tell you, I don't really know a lot about that.
I don't know a lot about smoking crack, but the other part, maybe. Justin says Tyler's rants are the best. They are. That's like convincing you to go on a rant about something that I know you care about. None of it's fake, by the way. All of it is like 100% Tyler.
It's certainly not scripted.
None of it. It's 100% Tyler figuring out how to push those buttons. That's gold.
You guys realize that this is a toned down version of how I am in real life, right? Not toned up. I'm more of this in real life than I am on this show. I just have to tone it down a little bit on the show because otherwise we wouldn't get to any information. I want to give you guys some information, but no, like my real life personality is more this than what you see. So yeah, it's beyond not fake. It's actually toned down.
PJ asked, what are your thoughts on Josh Palmer?
I mean, I like him as a flyer, but there's been a lot of good hype about Mike Williams. A lot more than I would have thought. And I haven't heard anything about Josh Palmer. So,
by the way, I feel like we're getting to the point of the season where I do feel like I probably need to provide context just because I do feel like, people are going to be tuning in, maybe that haven't followed along with everything that's happened over the offseason. So Josh Palmer is a wide receiver that was selected by the Chargers, and he's coming in and very likely going to be competing for some decent playing time in the role that who was the guy that
Jalen Guyton.
Jalen Guyton.
I mean, Keenan Allen is the one. Mike Williams is the 2 for now. And Josh Palmer should be the 3 in theory. Mike Williams is a free agent after this year. So it is what it is.
Speaking of crack, Benny says, what's cracking, fellas? What's up, Benny? Appreciate you tuning in.
I like Josh Palmer. He's tied to Herbert, right? So that gives him potential.
David Johnson's dust. Avoid all Texans and Saints. Love the rants too. Rooting for Lindsay. Yeah, thank you. PJ.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Lindsay too. But keep in mind that Lindsay's older than Todd Gurley.
You know what, PJ? I'm with you on this. Tyler's not.
No, I'm not with you.
I'm with you on this.
I think that by this time next year, it's possible that Chase Claypool is a top 10 dynasty wide receiver.
Woo. No.
Let's talk about that. So he was very good as a rookie, right? I mean, how many rookies produced the kind of numbers that he did? I mean, Big Ben, was Big Ben good at throwing down the field? No, he wasn't. But Chase Claypool managed to produce anyway, despite playing on a team with, allegedly Juju Smith-Schuster so talented and Deontay Johnson so good at running every route, right? I mean, that's what they say. But Chase Claypool still managed, for a rookie, you don't want 873 yards and 9 touchdowns? 109 targets earned. 109 targets earned as a rookie. I mean, what is that other than a smashing success for a second-round pick, right? I mean, you don't want that guy? I want that guy. That same guy who's 6'4", 238 pounds. I think the people don't know. Let's let's, the people need to hear it. I think they need to hear it. So we just heard about Chase Claypool, right? We heard Chase Claypool's rookie season. 62 receptions.
Okay, but that doesn't tell the whole story about Chase Claypool.
What story doesn't it tell?
Season-long numbers is not the whole story.
Well, I mean, he didn't play so much at the beginning. Then he got in the game, and then
the beginning was
down at the back half.
He was way better in the beginning than he was at the end.
Well, yes, Big Ben was way better in the beginning than he was at the end.
But most of that buoyed by a 42-point outing against Philly, where he had 42 points.
Right, but he was used in the offense consistently. It's not like he didn't exist. He had one horrible week.
One other time in the fantasy
regular season. Right. But as a rookie, do you really expect consistency from a rookie? As a rookie, I just want to see that they did it. But you know what? You say that, right? Let's think about that, right? Chase Claypool, 62 receptions for 873 yards and 9 touchdowns. He also had 2 rushing touchdowns. Remember what I said? I said that he was 6'4", 238. So let's look at another player who had a good rookie season. 6'4", 229 pounds. This player had 58 receptions for 900 yards and 7 touchdowns. So very similar height and weight. Similar rookie production. I mean, mystery player had a couple less touchdowns, a couple fewer receptions, but, a few more yards. So that's what the mystery player did. And then we saw what Chase Claypool did. They're almost similar sizes, almost the exact same size, the 2 players. And, the 2 players were both drafted in, the similar draft capital, both drafted in the 2nd round. Right. So who do we think the mystery player is?
I'm sure it's somebody good.
It's DK Metcalf. So okay. I just can't pass on Claypool. When he did that, by the way, playing with Big Ben, who I think we all know is a shell of what Russell Wilson offers as a passer in terms of accuracy at this stage.
Is he going to be playing with not Big Ben?
No, I didn't say that. But what I'm saying is I was very impressed with his rookie year.
So he's going as the wide receiver 21 right now.
Talent wins, man. Talent wins. You don't do that as a rookie with a bad quarterback with other good receivers in the offense unless you're really good.
But after he had a 42-point game.
I'm pleading with the people. I'm pleading. Don't fade him. Don't listen to Cal. I'm pleading. No, he isn't. I'm pleading. I'm begging. I really am. I'm begging. Please, please, please don't fade him. You're going to regret it. You're going to look back after the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season when he flashes the athleticism again. He has the big plays again, and people remember what he could do on the field, and it's not just a bunch of numbers. Your people are going to remember, and then his price is going to go way up. Please. I'm really, really confident about this one. I'm very sure. Don't fade Chase Claypool.
2 100-yard games under his belt.
Look, as a rookie, I don't care about the consistency or, how his fantasy numbers were. I care about what he displayed in total, his skill set, and what he showed in the context of the situation he was in, and what that predicts of him doing moving forward, especially considering his size, that he has the size to go with the rookie year production. We have been spoiled by Justin Jefferson. For in any other year, I read you DK Metcalf's numbers.
Well, any other year, as the wide receiver 3, I think he's being properly in context there.
People don't get it. We've been spoiled. In any other year, a 2nd-round pick, 62 receptions, 870 yards, and 9 touchdowns would be a miracle. People would be like, this was a great rookie year. Could have been one of the best in the class. Right? Seriously. Don't fade Chase Claypool. If I can beg the people to do one thing, it's this.
West Coast Chiever, appreciate you tuning in and dropping your question in the comments. What's up, guys? T-Law and Ayuk for Fields and Chase in a 12-team Superflex PPR.
It's an interesting trade. It's interesting. I do think Lawrence is a good upgrade over Fields, but I think Chase is an upgrade over Ayuk. I'm let me look at my rankings to kind of put it into a little bit of a perspective for me.
Fields and Chase for me.
Just when I look at the rankings and I look at the rounds, it's Fields and Chase.
Mm-hmm. Fields and Chase.
But it's not unreasonable. It's not unreasonable. It's not a ridiculous trade. It is close.
This is a good strategy, Ed. They're going to happen. They're going to come up. We're going to get some Tyler
But
Rance.
sometimes you don't know when the rant is coming.
Let him happen.
The rant usually comes when Cal disagrees, and I feel strongly about it enough to plead with the people not to listen to Cal.
I love it.
If we disagree and it is whatever, then whatever. But
we asked you guys to put some Michael Thomas trades in the comments.
But see, what is this accomplishing? Like,
hey, let me finish reading the question. Cat Zero did that. Michael Thomas was traded for 207, 208, 209 in one of my leagues, 10-team league.
You see, in a 10-teamer, I'm more likely to hold on to the studs. I mean, this is just, what even is this? I mean, well, what are you getting with those picks? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? That's 17th, 18th, and 19th rookie. What does that get you?
So this year, let's see, that gets you.
Is this super flex or one QB? In a super flex, it would probably be look a lot better. Maybe a little bit better.
Sure. Yep. But I
mean,
Zach Wilson and Amari Rogers, Diami Brown. That's kind of that.
On a one QB, that's not going to cut it.
Nico Collins.
I'd rather just never have MT come back and just whatever than that. I mean, when I'm saying trade him, I have some ideas of how you could do that. Like, there are some things you could do. Like, if I could get, this is just not what I want. Like, you can probably get, like, for MT, like, if you can get, like, Michael Pittman and, like, I don't even know, like, Michael Pittman and, say, I don't know, like, Damian Harris. Not exciting, right? But, like, that's fine. Like, I would take that. But this is just, like, nothing. So that I want something better than nothing.
Me too. PJ, to answer your question, he is going off the board. His ADP is 111, QB 13 in one QB leagues. Is it worth it, Tyler?
It's 111?
In one QB startups, yeah.
I mean,
the rank is 108. The 108, the 108th best ADP, but the ADP itself is 111.
Oh, okay. Whatever. Sure, it's about exactly where I have him.
MT for Sutton and Rager. I like that better.
I take that.
Yep.
I take that. I like Sutton and Rager in a 14-team. Rager's enough of a tiny piece to come with Sutton that I take Sutton and Rager. That's the kind of deal I'm looking for. Something that's totally fine. I would snap accept Sutton and Rager for MT.
OMZ got offered Deshaun Watson for Justin Fields in the 2021 first.
What? I am confused. Fields is worth more.
Don't do that.
Field side.
Field side.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Fields is worth more than Watson.
Tony says Superflex traded Deshaun Watson for Carson Wentz and 2 2022 first.
Oh, it's a great trade, and now trade Wentz.
Yeah, I like it. Even though you have to take it. Do you think they added a first to get him to also take?
That's what I think. No,
just to get Wentz off
their team. For a contracts league, maybe.
Gator fan 15. How would you rank the following wide receivers in Dynasty? And is it close? Tyler Lockett, Mike Williams, Deebo Samuel, and DJ Chark.
Okay, so Chark is by far first, then Lockett, then Samuel, and Mike Williams is like in another dimension.
Mike Williams is a good agent, man. Like, he gets hyped up at this time of year every year.
He's also being paid $15 million.
Whoever is in charge of like hyping Mike Williams, like, we need you for the show. If you're listening to this,
what has Mike Williams done in his 4-year career to be worth the first round pick that was spent on him?
I don't know. Is he going to get more than Juju in free agency next year?
No. Mike Williams can't stay on the field. So no. Nobody's risking a big contract on Mike Williams.
If the Rams do not add a running back, I think they will. If they do not,
let's give him his hypothetical though.
Do you think or expect Xavier Jones will be flexible during the season? Also, what are the chances Henderson plays 17 games?
No. What do you mean flexible? He has 0 career carries.
We want the funk.
We want the funk. Yeah, we do.
We want.
I prefer funk. Funk was very good. He has good profile.
T-Fish listens every Tuesday. You got to comment more, T-Fish. I think that's the first time we pulled up one of your comments. So if you listen every Tuesday, make sure.
I made another comment. Not sure.
Roll it. This is true. Thank you, PJ. Tacos are healthy for the soul.
Unfortunately, I sold my soul to the devil to be good at giving fantasy advice.
Tyler doesn't have a soul. If you haven't been paying attention, there is no soul.
I hope the people think that my soul was worth it for this show.
Open 24 Hours says, hey, now, how do you feel about these rookie wide receivers, and how would you draft rank them? Diami Brown, Nico Collins, Amari Rodgers, and Amon St. Brown.
Good question.
And welcome, Open 24 Hours. Appreciate you tuning in.
I mean, let's see. I like Amari Rodgers the most, then Diami Brown, then Nico Collins, and then Amon Ra.
They're literally going back to back in ADP on DLF.
And they are all undervalued. Well, actually not Diami Brown, but the other ones are.
Amon Ra is going as the wide receiver 9. Diami is going as the wide receiver 10.
Amari I don't care about that. I care about their no. See, we're past rookie drafts. That doesn't matter.
No,
what matters is
they're still coming up after the third preseason.
Okay, for people who do that. But right now we're in more startups. We don't care where they rank in rookie drafts. People are in startups now, and they have the opportunity in a combined rookie vet draft. Just everyone is available. They have the opportunity to draft or not draft these players. So where are they in a comparison to that? Like where, what veterans are around them? What are people passing on to take these guys?
Let's see. Kadarius Toney is going as wide receiver 57. Amon Ra is 64. So it's right next to Bryan Edwards.
Give me Bryan Edwards all day.
Diami Brown is going right behind Russell Gage.
I'll take Diami Brown just for the upside.
And ahead of Antonio Brown.
That's fine.
Let's see. Nico Collins is going ahead of Christian Kirk.
Okay. I'd
prefer of Traquan
Collins.
Smith.
Oh, I definitely prefer Collins.
Behind Denzel Mims.
What? Denzel Mims' is ADP is still too high.
Wide receiver 66.
That's too high.
Paris Campbell has reported the training camp healthy. Is this for real? And can he transcend failure? You do have an asterisk on failure, and it is
but see, he doesn't meet that criteria because he has too many injuries. So there's too many strikes. So he has a lot of strikes of injuries. So actually, his injuries are a failure because it seems like he's always injured. Every time there's a new injury, another new problem. But he's there now, and he's healthy now. But no, since I don't believe in Wentz, I'm not looking at secondary options. I'm all in on Pittman. But think about that. I don't believe in Wentz, and I'm all in on Pittman. So when you combine those two factors, that probably means I'm pretty out on everyone else there. I mean, Campbell's price is low, though. It's very low. It's low enough that I can't kill someone for taking a shot on him.
His price is low.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably, I debate him versus like Amari Rodgers and Diami Brown and Nico Collins. And I think I come to the conclusion that he's kind of in that range.
I'm trying to see if I could find his wide receiver 62. So he's kind of going in that same like just in front of Amon-Ra, right behind Diami.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
I don't think I agree with this.
No, I did vehemently disagree.
Yeah.
No, DJ Moore is worth more than a single first, any format.
Yeah. MJ, what's your outlook on AJ Dillon? Should I hold another year or try to sell? Had some offers, but I feel his value is probably at its lowest currently.
I don't think AJ Dillon's the kind of player you sell. I think AJ Dillon's the kind of player that you hold and you hope that Aaron Jones wears down or gets hurt. I mean, you don't hope anyone gets hurt, but
I like the profile picture that you got there, MJ.
I do. It is very nice, but I don't think AJ Dillon is a player you sell, really. Who's buying?
He's going off the board as RB33 right now, right behind Ronald Jones, behind Mike Davis, behind Chase Edmonds, behind James Robinson.
I have him ahead of Jones and Davis.
But Dillon or Michael Carter?
Carter.
Interesting.
I've just had enough. I've had enough of Ronald Jones.
Grant G, I came in late. Did I miss the Rodgers Green Bay? Other players like Adams value discussion? If so, I'll watch and repeat. You did not.
Well, we have talked about it. I mean, we talked about Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers, that is, not Amari. We actually just discussed Amari Rodgers a little bit. But no, we haven't really talked. We talked about Aaron Jones in a trade earlier. I was very out on him. We really have yet to talk about Davante Adams much at all.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about it now?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Well, I mean, what is there to talk about with Davante Adams?
What's his value? Yeah, like is this something?
Davante Adams doesn't have a real value. Like Davante Adams' value is one thing if you're a contender and another thing if you're not.
Yeah, he was going, man. His ADP, he only ever got to the wide receiver 5.
But that's still too high. Like, I still think that Davante Adams' old ADP assumed that it was Aaron Rodgers for eternity.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that is not an assumption I'm making.
What about Randall Cobb? Do you care that he was brought in?
Why would I care?
He's got to be, how old is Randall Cobb? I don't even know. He's pretty old.
Randall Cobb, I believe, is August 22nd, 1990.
He's going as the wide receiver 117.
Can we check that? August 22nd, 1990. What do I get if I got that one right?
I'll check it. Let me see.
August 22nd, 1990. Let's see if I was even close. Let's see if I know what I'm talking about.
But if he's on waivers, you're putting in a claim for him.
In deeper leagues.
He's probably going to be second on the team in targets, if not third.
No, I don't think so.
Why? Who else is getting it?
I think that no, I don't think so. I think that Amari Rodgers is already better. And I also think that Allen Lazard has more gas in the tank than Randall Cobb.
What a weird story. What a weird story that Rodgers
think this is just Aaron Rodgers being something. Well, okay, let's talk about what the news does do, though. You can take, essentially to me, what it does is you can forget Allen Lazard and Marquez Valdes-Scantling as stashes, all three of them with Cobb, all three irrelevant. You can just get rid of them all. You can roster each of them in a deeper league, but Allen Lazard is the one I had valued higher, so he's the one who takes the hit. Marquez Valdes-Scantling I already had valued low. Amari Rodgers takes a small hit in Dynasty because Randall Cobb's going to play probably some playing time, and then he will. Amari Rodgers is probably going to lose Aaron Rodgers after this year, so the 1 year he had to play with Aaron Rodgers is now going to be partially taken up by Randall Cobb. So Amari Rodgers takes a small hit. Allen Lazard had value and he no longer does. Marquez Valdes-Scantling didn't have value before and doesn't now. And Randall Cobb has more value than he had on the Texans, but probably he has about similar value to me as what Marquez Valdes-Scantling did before, which is
production value. Like, it's not really he's not going to be.
To me, it's like, am I running out to get Emmanuel Sanders. No, right?
No.
So it's like, that's like, I'm just scrolling and looking at some players. It's kind of like Marquez Valdez-Scantling, like, but like when I scroll up, I'm looking at like Tyrell Williams. I'd rather have Tyrell Williams, a chance on Tyrell Williams, than a chance on Randall Cobb. Like I'd rather have, like I have some other players, Marcus Callaway. I'd rather stash like young, talented players like Preston Williams, Tyler Johnson, or Colin Johnson over.
If you look at the waiver wire, you would pick up Tyrell Williams over Randall Cobb right now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because Tyrell Williams in the beat reports say he's the one there. And Randall Cobb, we know, is not the one. Devontae Adams. So, yes. I would rather have Tyrell Williams over Randall Cobb. There's more upside with Tyrell Williams. Tyrell Williams is also younger than Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb is already going to be 31 when the season starts.
What did you guess his birthday was?
August 22nd, 1990.
You nailed it. I don't know how you did that.
Right on the nose?
Right on the nose.
See, the people know that I do the research for the people.
West Coast Chiefer, I was able to dump Watson and a 2022 second for 102, which became Lance, and 202 Bateman.
Wait, I want to say one more thing. If that presents a buying opportunity for Amari Rodgers, I would do it because I believe in the talent of Amari Rodgers. Okay. Situation aside, I believe in the talent. I'm always buying talent. So that's the last thing on that.
Would you do this? Would you Watson and a second for Lance and Bateman?
No. I'll keep Lance. But it's not unreasonable.
Yeah, I like the Lance side too.
But I'll keep the Lance side.
Seems like the wrong time to sell AJ Dillon. I agree.
That time was in the past. But also, yeah, just hang on to AJ Dillon. I don't see a reason to sell him.
TK with the great comment. Every other analyst is playing checkers while Tyler is playing chess.
Okay, that's not true. Like, there are a lot of other good analysts out there. I'm far from the only one. But just keep in mind that not every analyst is good. And, that's something I hate to say, but it does need to be said. But just because someone has an FF in their name, anyone can.
Yeah.
Like, I just decided one day, like 2 years ago, that I was going to be a fantasy football analyst. And I just put, I started writing for Dynasty Football Factory back then, like 2 years ago. And like, I was just some guy. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. And I was publishing articles.
Mr. 2K or 10K.
Right. But like, I was just some guy. Yep. And like, I really hope people did not listen to me, like when I was getting started, because I had no idea what I was talking about. Mm-hmm. So like, anyone can say that they're a fantasy football analyst. Like you got to do your research and make your decisions on who you want to listen to and who you trust. Not everyone is trustworthy.
Very true. Let's see. Yeah, T-Fish, great answer, Tyler, earlier. Agree 100%.
100%. If you get into the playoffs, anything could happen. Even if your team is not so good, you could have 3 lucky weeks and then you win a title. So if you have
too. I do. My only point that I was making there is that like I will like try to make an honest assessment of whether I think my team is gonna be competitive or not.
So do I. I just want to be.
But of course, just get in the playoffs. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Skill is getting to the playoffs. Luck happens after that.
Yeah.
Skill is getting to the playoffs.
You just be me and be lucky though. Then you'll have more chances to win championships. I'm very lucky. I'm notoriously lucky.
Okay, West Coast Chiefer, I have an offer made to me in a 12-team Superflex PPR, my 2022 first and Jacobs for CEH. That's hard.
See, this is one of those where you know how you have those trades? Usually where I give a quick answer is like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. If I have this side, I would trade it for that side. And if I had that side, I would definitely not trade it for this side. This is not one of those cases. I think this is one of those where I'm not doing this trade either way. Like, let's say I had a 2022 first in Jacobs. I'd probably rather just flat out sell Jacobs because I think I can get more for him that way, or not give up a 2022 first to go get CEH. So see, I'm probably not doing it if I have that side. But if I have CEH, I probably don't want this return. I don't want Jacobs. So I probably want more. So I'm not doing the trade from that angle either. So it's one of those, there are trades like this that are relatively even in terms of value, and I would not do from either side. This is one of those. So I would not do this. I would look to use my 2022 first in a different way. I'm probably not spending a 2022 first to go to CEH. That's just not going to cut it for me. That's not good enough. So I would say don't do it personally.
It being Superflex, I might agree, but there is a chance. Like the one league that I had Josh Jacobs in was a league where I literally could not sell him for anything. I was aggressive with a lot of offers, and I literally nobody wanted him.
I'm writing about Josh Jacobs right now.
Yeah.
Let me know
what drop. Is it positive?
It's not negative.
Okay. I might link it and send it to somebody so I can see if I can do something for him.
It's about how Josh Jacobs exists. He's there. You can roster him.
That's a strong take.
No, it literally says
he does exist.
That's what it says. I mean, I said he's a decent running back who can handle a large workload, but who doesn't contribute in the receiving game. He also won't provide much spark or excitement on the field, and he's very boring to watch.
Sometimes simple analysis is the best.
Yep.
Also, somehow only 23 years old. How is he only 23? He's been in the
February
league for
98. February 11th, I want to say, maybe February 11th or something. It's February 98. That I know for sure.
That's insane. This is your listening to the show.
I listen to my podcast too. I listen to that show too, because I want to see if I could do better. But the problem is that I always just really enjoy the show and think it was great, and I have no criticism. So, I have to let other people criticize me because I'm too biased. I love myself too much.
Will says, this is so awesome. I've been a DLF sub since 2012. Just recently got involved in the YouTube channel. You guys rock. That's awesome, Will. Thank you. I love that. That's one of the things we actually talked about, me and Addison, a lot.
12 is a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time.
That's something. We appreciate you. Neither of us have been at DLF nearly that long. Both of us are this year.
Yeah.
So we're 2021. I was a customer. I became a customer in 2018. 2012 is a long time. That's before I started playing Dynasty. I started playing Dynasty in 2018, and that's what got me to sign up for DLF. Mm-hmm. But I was playing fantasy. I started playing fantasy in 2009, but I didn't. The first time I realized that there was fantasy content was in 2015. So 2012, you're an early adopter. So we appreciate you for that.
Absolutely. And love the crossover. Yeah, that's exactly what we want. David, is Bryan Edwards the wide receiver to own for the Las Vegas Raiders?
No. I mean, I would prefer to have Henry Ruggs head to head, but I much prefer Bryan Edwards at his price than Henry Ruggs at his price, although Henry Ruggs is a buy also. But I much prefer Bryan Edwards at his price. Now, I actually just wrote an article about Bryan Edwards. It went to the editors today, and it will publish on July 30th, assuming the schedule stays the same. It's positive.
Bryan Edwards played in 12 games last year.
I'm aware of that.
Got 15 targets.
I don't care.
I
have reasons.
Why?
I have reasons.
Why are we doing this?
Because I spent more time and did more research than just looking at the top line.
15 targets in 12 games.
No, I understand. I get that. Look, I get it. With Bryan Edwards, it's just...
How is that not failure?
Remember my injury exception? The injury exception is in play. And also...
He played 12 games.
Okay. He started week 1 as a third-round rookie. That's enough for me to at least be somewhat in and give that player a second chance. Third-round picks don't usually win starting jobs out of training camp.
He started and got 1 target.
I understand that.
He caught it for 9 yards.
Now, I understand that. Now, as someone who watched that game and remembers him, he looked good. He looked good. He looked like the Bryan Edwards that I wanted to see. So there are not many third-round rookies that secure starting roles in their first game. He did that. So I'm willing to give that player a second chance. generally players that have many chances and fail at all of them are the ones that I don't like. But I do like players exceeding their expectations, because Bryan Edwards' third round draft capital is keeping his ADP down. That's why I like him so much. Versus someone like Jalen Reagor, whose first round ADP is keeping his ADP up. So I'm not in.
I would much rather have Reagor than Edwards.
So would I. But Jalen Reagor's ADP is 40 spots higher. And see, that's not a difference I'm into.
We keep trying to make these USC wide receivers happen, man. We keep trying to do it.
That's a ridiculous thing to talk about. I don't care.
We keep trying to make it happen.
Right, but who cares? I don't care where they went to college. I care what they're doing now.
Go get 2023 pick. Sure.
I'm in on Bryan Edwards. I think he has a good college profile, and he was good in his rookie training camp and won a starting role out of camp. Now, Bryan Edwards is very simple. You're going to know. You're going to know. I mean, if he is a backup, you're done. He's done. You need to move on. But you'll know very quickly.
Yeah.
They could have signed someone like Juju, but they didn't. They could have signed a premier free agent. It's the Raiders, and they didn't do it. They want Bryan Edwards to be a starter. He was a starter last year before he went down. I'm just saying, it's very possible.
PJ says, go get Gallup, Boyd, Debo, and picks.
In a rebuild, I don't want any of those things. Certainly
Gallup,
not Boyd.
sure. Gallup.
In a rebuild, though,
Gallup is likely to go up in value. I like that.
Yeah, but Gallup already even for rebuild. No, I want no, but I want really young. Gallup and Debo are already 25. That's in a rebuild. 25 is okay, but
I don't know. I don't want to rebuild forever.
No, I don't want to rebuild forever, but Gallup is also not going to get you out of a rebuild on his own. It's not like Gallup is going to be a wide receiver 1. And Debo's the same thing. Debo's not going to be the thing that gets you out of a rebuild. So I don't want those guys. If I'm going to keep someone who's 25 as a wide receiver in a rebuild, there isn't a good example. If Ridley were a year younger, he would be someone like Terry McLaurin. I would hang on to in a rebuild because he's so much better. Gallup and Debo, instead of Gallup and Debo, give me Rondale Moore or Elijah Moore. I'd much rather have those players in a rebuild. That's more what I have in mind. That's all I'm saying. Boyd is also too old for a rebuild, and his value is about to go down.
I love that Local Liability has listened to a lot of this show and thinks there's a chance that Tyler plays Madden or Xbox.
I have a friend who we actually play Madden together on Xbox all the time.
Do you?
I do.
I'm shocked.
He always gets mad when I beat him.
I am shocked.
Yeah.
I do not I have a
I'm a big Madden fan, actually.
I have a son that does play Madden, and every now and then I have to go in and show him who's still the best in the house.
Okay.
So. Jamie, I get a kick out of Tyler admitting his food takes are weird and he's a health nut and he doesn't want to talk about it. Is this question mandatory? I think everybody gets a kick out of it.
No, I think only you get a kick out of it.
Well, he does too.
Well,
obviously it's not just me.
Okay, so I get that the people want me to be upset.
It's not weird. You talk about it like it's weird, but eating healthy is not weird. You talk about it like it is, and I think that's why everybody kind of
people don't care about what I eat.
You don't think. West Coast Cheaper, I picked up an orphan team in a 12-team Superflex PPR, and after flipping for picks, I have Herbert, Lance, Fields, Etienne, Chase, Ayuk, Mooney, and Pitts as a foundation. Congratulations.
That's a pretty good foundation.
Don't trade away Etienne. No.
Yeah, why? Yeah, no. You're already ready to start making a U-turn towards potentially competing if Lance and Fields come in. So no, I'm not trading away Etienne. He's a 22-year-old running back with first-round draft capital. Wait till he goes on the field and his value will go up. No, I'm not trading him right now. No is my answer to this.
This is one of those I
just have no idea what this is referring to.
I wish I knew
what more or less than what.
More, worth less. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Monty. If you want to clarify, we will try to get.
Yeah, we need a clarification on that. Yeah. But the clarification might be way later.
Tony needs some help at running back. Which wide receiver would you trade out of this bunch? Hill, Metcalf, Lamb, Chase, McLaurin.
Okay, so I'm not trading Chase given his value. So That Chase and Lamb are probably just a hard no trade for me, given what they're worth and what I think they're worth. The other three are all available, but I'm pretty high on even Metcalf compared to his ADP. There's people who are concerned about Metcalf more than I am. I'm not really concerned. So it's Hill or McLaurin, but I'm also higher on McLaurin than his ADP. So it's Hill.
I'm in a similar situation, and like I have Lamb and Chase. Hill is the one you want to. I can't imagine trading Lamb right now. I would need so much for Lamb.
No, I'm not trading Lamb or Chase at their ADP. Hill would be the one, I think.
I think it's Hill. Hill's probably going to be awesome
for Hill.
Year,
you know what I would try to get for Hill? Like if I could get, let's say I could get like, pivot to a lower receiver and get like, what if you could get? Hear me out. DeAndre Swift. And Devonta Smith.
Oh, yeah.
That's the kind of thing you do.
Yes. Let's see where
you could even put a little higher maybe for Hill because people still like him. What if you could get like DeAndre Swift and Brandon Ayuk or Chase Claypool, who we talked about earlier, or T. Higgins? What about those options? That would be even better than Devonta Smith. You can potentially do that because people are down on DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I think that's the right.
I try to get a haul for Hill, I think is what I'm saying. Because that's how you're going to get a really good running back.
Yeah. Sometimes when you have depth, like we always think like trade the one that has the least amount of value. And a lot of times maybe the right answer is trading the one that has the most value and getting the most back.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. There are McLaurin truthers that out there though. Yeah. And I like him, but I wouldn't say I'm a truther.
Wide receiver 12 right now in ADP.
No. See, I like him, but I wouldn't say I'm a McLaurin truther. Like, there are some people who have him really high.
Tyler says, Lance, Sutton, Chase, Devonta Smith, Jonathan Taylor, Najee. That's my young core. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, you have Jonathan Taylor, Chase, and Najee. I gotta like that. And then Devonta Smith, I'm also high on, and Lance is a good young quarterback. I mean, I like all these players. With what though? I mean, what's the format? What other quarterbacks do you have? Is Superflex? Like, I need some more context. But sure, I like these players, right? I mean, if that's what the question is.
Monty, deep. So we're thinking deep here. How much use would Foster Moreau get if Waller got injured?
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I don't think Foster Moreau is getting Darren Waller's targets.
No. Foster Moreau would be like... Foster Moreau's upside is what Dalton Schultz did last year.
Yeah. Because Foster Moreau's not bad. Foster Moreau's fine. I kind of liked him at LSU, but... I
think Dalton Schultz is a better player than Foster Moreau, but I also think that Derek Carr is a better quarterback than Andy Dalton. And also, he's not competing with... Lamb and Amari. He's competing with Ruggs and Edwards and a lot of maybe. So Moreau would have a chance if he were good, if Waller went down to earn some targets. But I'm just not. That's not a spot I'm targeting because it requires an injury and I'm not going to be that happy with the results anyway. I think I'm more likely to look at other tight end areas where I think there's more of an overtake chance. Like, let me give you some examples. Well, first of all, if I'm looking at an injury, Noah Gray is the guy that I want because that's with Mahomes. Noah Gray, by the way, a Kansas City rookie tight end. That's the guy I want hoping for an injury because if Kelsey went down, it's with Mahomes. You never know what Gray could do, whereas Moreau is Carr. So, that's where I'd be looking at an injury. But I'm also looking at other situations. I'd rather take a chance on, someone else who's free, like a Will Disley, in case he's actually the starter and Everett's not. Maybe a Disley. Or if I have to take another stash over Moreau, I'd be interested in, Donald Parham. I think he's only blocked by Jared Cook, who I'm not as confident in as Waller. And he's Herbert. So, there are so many other tight ends that I'd rather that I'm just probably not getting to the point where I'm rostering Foster Moreau.
Jordan Akins. That's somebody I'd want to.
Well, Jordan Akins is old, so I'm out on Jordan Akins.
Deep stash.
Jordan Akins, what are we? June 92?
He's 29.
June 92, I think.
We can't waste time. We're coming up on, let's see, coming up on 3 hours. Woo, we only have an hour left, Tyler.
We're going to be entering hour 4 very soon.
We have a lot of questions still coming in. You can't teach someone to be Claypool, DK, those humans. Just don't come around often. I have a feeling Ed's getting that from a certain Patreon that he is.
Well, I think also Ed's just getting that from me. Like,
that's what I mean. A certain Patreon.
Well, but I don't think he needs. I don't think that's only from Patreon. I think that's, I think you could just listen to this show. I mean, I literally begged and pleaded with the people. I pleaded. I pleaded with the people not to fade Chase Claypool.
Yep.
Whatever I had to say.
Trade him. How come my league mates won't trade with me? Oh yeah, DLF, and this is awesome. This happens a lot. People they're like, no, TK follows this way too closely. There's no way I'm going to trade with him. If he wants my player, it means he must know something that I don't know.
Do you think that's the case? I mean, typically what I find is that isn't what's going on. It's typically not, I won't trade with you. That usually to me happens when I personally dislike someone. When someone did something to me outside of the league or in the league that was so bad that I would rather hurt my team and not trade with them than trade with them.
That can happen.
That's rare though. So typically what this is you're an active manager in an inactive league. It's not that they won't trade with you. It's that you want to trade a lot. And your league mates are just not really into that, and they're not active. So it's typically not personal. It's typically just that you have a different activity level from your league mates. And what I would say to that is, 1, find a better league. And 2, if that's really what it's like, you can leave. There's no shame. I'm a proponent of leaving leagues. If you're not having fun, leave. Don't stay. Don't stay if you're not having fun. That's bad for everybody. That's bad for you. That's bad for the people you're playing with. If you're not having fun, leave. So if you're in an inactive league and you don't like it, no one's forcing you to be there. Just leave and find a league that suits your activity level.
100%. Should be fun. I don't know if this is he just left the F off the end of it.
I don't know what it's in reference to though.
DK Metcalf. I don't know if this is just a combination of me and DK Metcalf.
I don't know.
Luke Jukum. Great
That is
name.
not a realistic outcome.
Where will Claypool be ranked when there's a QB competition between Dwayne Haskins and
not a realistic outcome. We've seen that we cannot predict the quarterback carousel in the NFL, but what we can predict is that NFL teams will do anything to acquire a quarterback when they don't have one, and this is not a realistic outcome. So I will not answer that question because it's not a hypothetical worth wasting time on.
All right.
It's a waste of time.
We've talked enough about Claypool. Isco Alcaran, what should...
Yeah, we answered this already.
I'm hoping to get for a Rob in terms of picks.
I don't know. I mean, how much more are you going to get, right? I mean, I'd like to get a first plus, but are you going to get that?
P2, Claypool is not Calvin Johnson. Get out of here.
But he's Calvin Johnson. Get out of here with that. That's ridiculous.
Sell Claypool to P2. That's what you need to do.
Well,
somebody who thinks he's Calvin Johnson. That's who we're selling him to. Why would the Supers not be able to bring it?
Yeah, that's what I said.
I think this could be a problem because I do think they're going to be way too late in the draft.
They have $73 million in cap room in 2022. It's not a problem.
But who's available? I mean,
you say that every year. Going there? Was Matthew a year ago? Was Matthew Stafford ever you considered that Matthew Stafford was going to be available? Was that a possibility?
Sure. Trades maybe. Sure.
No, I'm just saying we were not wasting time on if the Steelers have Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins as their quarterback. That is a waste of time to talk about that. That is not a realistic outcome.
Could you have not said the same thing last year?
Outcomes. Let's focus on possibilities.
Yeah.
That is not a realistic outcome. They paid Mason Rudolph $5 million on an extension to be their backup next year. Now, I expect them to either draft a rookie or to trade for a veteran to be the starter. That depends on how they do this year. But either way, they will get another quarterback. It is a waste of time to speculate on if it's Rudolph or Haskins. That is not happening.
On the flip side, it would have been considered.
They have $73 million in cap space
last year for most people to consider what Michael Thomas's value would be with Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston. Like,
we're good at predicting. We're bad at predicting things that will happen, but we're better at predicting things that will not happen. Like, with this idea that the Steelers are going to go into a season with that at quarterback.
Well, the point is, it's an uncertain QB situation.
Oh, yes, it can only get better. It can only be better. It cannot be worse than Ben this year.
I don't know.
I mean, I've said multiple times that if I could eliminate Ben Roethlisberger and replace him with Jimmy Garoppolo on the same contract, I would do that immediately. I've said multiple times that I would do that. And I can stand by that. That's a quarterback they could have. That would be possible. That could be an upgrade. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is an upgrade over Ben Roethlisberger. The Ben Roethlisberger I saw in the last 6 weeks. Almost anyone is an upgrade.
Adams moving Claypool up.
Well, I'm glad you listened. I mean, it's good. It's good.
Moving up to where? He's at 21. Are you moving him ahead of T. Higgins? Because that's the next guy he's got to overcome.
StreamYard has lost access to our Facebook account. What?
Whatever.
I mean, I also have T. Higgins higher than consensus. I have T. Higgins at 16, Ayuk at 17, and Claypool at 18. So I'm in on them all.
You're not putting him ahead of those. Like the guys that are ahead of him, I just don't think. You're not moving him ahead of Ayuk?
No, I have Ayuk ahead. I have Higgins 16, Ayuk 17, and Claypool 18.
So let's see. You must have him ahead of Mike Evans.
Oh, well, Mike Evans is a way down. Mike Evans has no upside.
Can't do it.
Mike Evans says, well, you'll regret it. I mean, the guarantee, I guarantee you that Chase Claypool will be valued higher in a year than Mike Evans. I mean, that's a lock. And that I can guarantee. Mike Evans' value is going to tank. Great.
This is true. Like normally, like your rants are more negative in nature. This is a positive rant. I like this.
Because I want the people to hear it. Not because, believe me, not because I want to do some random victory lap. I don't care. What I want the people to do is now while you still can, buy Claypool at the price he is now, before he's the price I'm saying he's going to be, and then you've turned a profit. You've gotten a potential stud wide receiver for a non-stud price. That's why I'm so insistent, because you're running out of time to do it. That's why I'm becoming more insistent now than I was 2 months ago, because you are running out of time. Time is ticking. Soon you will not be able to do this anymore. So that's why I'm becoming so aggressive, so adamant, so insistent right now.
I don't know. This is in reference to.
Oh, there was a game between the Steelers and the Eagles where those two players went off, I believe.
TK asked, what's the more meaningful measurement, BMI or bench press?
Neither. I don't care.
Probably bench press.
Sure.
I have to pick.
I'm not looking at this is not. When I look at measurables, I don't care what they were at the combine. I'm not talking about film. I'm talking about, okay, I look at the player and I'm like, do I like what this player looks like on the field? It's not, do I like how he run his routes? I trust reception, perception, and other sources over me for that. But like when I look on the field, I'm like, okay, he's towering over everyone else. I like that. Again, simplicity is everything.
Every rookie wide receiver besides Jamar Chase, you would trade for Claypool?
Oh, easily, without even a second thought. Yes.
Yeah. Please trade Claypool, guys. Goodness
Why?
gracious.
No. You're gonna regret it.
Can you guys start a mock draft now that Aaron Rodgers is staying? There are a lot going on, Mike. Yes. Ryan's got that covered. I promise.
Yeah. I mean, Ryan does all the mock drafts. I don't do a lot of mock drafts. I have too many real drafts.
The August one should be out. What? Well, no, the next one should be
First of the month.
First of the month. Yeah.
Yeah, typically.
Mike, do you guys use Sleeper? I do.
Yes, I do.
I do kind of like it. I think that's the one I prefer to go to right now.
I do not think MFL is worth the money. I think if MFL were free, I would like it better. But I think because it costs money, I prefer Sleeper. I don't find that MFL provides enough of a value add to be worth the price. And, I hate, they probably don't like that I keep saying it, but I'll say it again. If MFL as a sport, we heard about me and my sports management background and my master's degree, whatever. If MFL does not create a real mobile app very soon, they will be irrelevant. And I hope that they hear that. Because I'm telling you, I am tired of it not working on my phone the way it's supposed to. Seriously, you got to create a mobile app. I mean, come on. This is 10 years past due, MFL. You should create a mobile app. And I know that they know that.
Why didn't you listen to Addison's video?
Well, I mean, do you think that Addison's video would have stopped me? You think a little video from Addison is going to stop my rant from happening? I don't think so. I mean, there's always people who say, why doesn't every analyst say the same thing? Everyone should have the same opinion. I don't know who to listen to. Well, that's the whole point. You have to choose who you listen to. We provide varied opinions. If Cal and I just agreed on everything, that would be boring. Who would want to listen to the show, right? I mean, just to hear me rant, that might be interesting. But, everyone agreeing everything would be boring. So, of course we're going to disagree. And then you listen to all the analysts and you decide who you want to listen to. I think you should listen to me, but if you find someone else's case more convincing than mine, then go with it. Go with that. You got to use your best judgment. So that's why, I'm fine with that. I mean, don't you think that that's good that we have differing opinions? I mean, that's what makes a good content site, is having differing opinions.
Everyone needs to go watch that video from Addison. Addison is great.
Everyone should watch all of Addison's videos. I watched one of his shorts today, but it wasn't that one.
Ed, don't forget to bring it down.
Gotta have that funk. I'm gonna get a Jake Funk. Look. I will consider getting a Jake Funk tattoo. I will consider it.
No, you won't.
Under advisement.
Todd, you had the first question and you're still in here. This is from 10. This is 40 minutes ago. We got to catch up, Tyler. We got to hurry up. Okay. Jordan Matthews, rookie year, 65, 872, and 8 TDs. Very Claypool-like numbers. Thank you, Todd.
Yes, except Jordan Matthews is not athletic. Not to Claypool's degree. Not to Claypool's degree. Didn't Claypool run faster at a much heavier weight?
I'm going to consult with my sources here.
Pretty sure Claypool ran, what, a 4.43? What did Matthews run?
You can be an athletic freak.
Yes, Claypool is an athletic freak. And I don't remember Jordan Matthews being an athletic freak.
Jordan Matthews was not an athletic freak.
I remember him being very unathletic.
Let's see. Jordan Matthews. I can't believe he's still in here.
I know.
4.46?
That's better than I thought. What did Claypool run?
4.42.
It's pretty impressive, though, with the extra 30 pounds. Size-adjusted speed is...
Speed score is 91st percentile for Jordan Matthews and 99th percentile for...
So that's your difference. Special versus good.
I don't know.
That is your difference. Special athleticism versus just good. Jordan Matthews looked like he ate a bunch of pizza though before he actually got further in the league, because he didn't look like the same player.
Monty Neal, Rams may add a vet, but doubt they challenge Henderson. The comments today actually make me think that McVay doesn't want to give him a full workload. That
no, he doesn't. I mean, that's why I think they add a vet, because I don't think that they can really trust these other guys to actually take legit carries. So I think they'll have to add a vet to soak up some carries.
Ed, I think a lot of people surprised. Jordan Matthews 40 is really close there to Chase Claypool.
Yeah, it's faster than I thought, but still, the size-adjusted speed score is very much in Claypool's favor.
It's funny. I bet they were drafted about the same. Let's see.
Wasn't Jordan Matthews a first-round pick?
He was 210. He was drafted ahead of Chase Claypool.
Well, what was Chase Claypool?
217.
217. Yeah. Chase Claypool was not an impressive.
Great point. Great point,
Chase
Todd.
Claypool was not an impressive statistical prospect at all. Chase Claypool was one of my biggest misses in the rookie process. I tend to whiff on those guys, the athletic guys without the stats profile at all. But once he did it in the NFL, then the stats profile was there, and then I was all in. Those guys didn't have to do it.
So first of all, he's congratulating you for getting the August 22nd, 1990. It is very impressive.
Sure.
But so Henry is old enough to remember this. So there was a time where we didn't have phones where we could plug in every phone number. Henry will remember these days. I still remember every phone number from when I was a kid. My phone number, my parents' phone number, the kid down the street. I remember the phone number for the movie theater.
But why did you call all these people though?
Once phones came around, when you could store them in, I stopped remembering. I don't even remember anybody's phone number anymore. It's in my phone. It's got a name. I don't even see the number. So the reason why Tyler is good at these birthday things and all that is because he manually enters things into spreadsheets.
Actually, I learned how to use VLOOKUP.
Oh, yeah, that's a recent development. Believe me.
Well, no,
that's a very recent development.
Spent a lot of minutes, many minutes on teaching me how to use VLOOKUP. But then I forgot. So I had to relearn it.
Luke Jukum, how would Randall Cobb rejoining the Packers
this already
affect the other three? But I think he's questioning us because we're saying it is going to affect them. I am.
I mean, I said that essentially it's going to make all of them kind of irrelevant, but for Amari Rodgers, I'm not fading a long-term talent for a short-term acquisition.
Right.
But I don't think did anyone expect Amari Rodgers to be fantasy relevant this year anyway? So then nothing's changed. The only thing it changed is I'm not wasting a roster spot on Marquez Valdes-Scantling anymore, and I'm close to not wasting a roster spot on Alan Lazard either.
Monty, do you all agree? Kill your heroes. Don't fixate on specific players, but rather on tiers of players and gain value by trading with those who fixate. In other words, fall in love with players might be a better way to say that.
Sure.
Tyler definitely agrees with that.
Yeah. I mean, for all of what I just said about Chase Claypool, I have T. Higgins and Brandon Ayuk ranked higher, and I didn't do a rant about them.
Craig Schmucker, it's right because we have the same birthday. It's Randall Cobb. Nice. Did that chess match happen yet?
Between who and who?
It was you and was it Local Liability that challenged you? I think it was. You know who challenged you? I haven't seen her in the chat though. Is she's from Reddit. What's her name? Shoot. I think she was going to beat you.
Joe,
yes.
Yeah, Joe challenged. She challenged me.
Is Tyler the illegitimate son of Gilbert Godfrey? No.
I don't get it.
Josh Jacobs exists. Big if true.
Yeah, we're not sure. We'll have to consult our sources. We'll have to consult our sources and do an independent investigation, and then we'll find out if Josh Jacobs exists or not.
Local is good at Madden too.
I'm not that good. I didn't say I was good.
Overestimates his ability here. I don't know. His or her.
I didn't say I was good. But I think he's talking to you because you're the one who proclaimed actually having Madden skills.
Really. Well, no. I just am still not overtaken by my son yet as champion of the house.
It'll happen.
That's all. It's going to happen. It'll happen. Every now and then.
Once I beat my dad at tennis once, I never let him win again.
Yeah. That's gonna happen for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, Henry. I'm sure you'll catch the rest of it.
This
so
sleep of which you speak. This sleep is such a bizarre concept to me. I'm not familiar with it. Is that something that people do?
I think so.
Oh, they do. Yeah, no, I don't know about that.
Grant G, and it's in our 12 teams. Superflex, 1 PPR. I'm a rebuilder with 8 first in the next 2 years. Got offered Jamar Chase, Bateman, and a second for Adams, Robinson, and a 4th. Yes.
I love it. I love the 8 firsts.
He said
for this trade,
no?
yes, I would. No, it's a yes. Take Chase and Bateman in second. I mean, I'd rather have Chase than Adams. I'd rather have Bateman than Robinson. I assume. Oh, was it James Robinson? This is Allen Robinson. That changes some things for me.
Maybe, yeah.
That's Allen Robinson. Then this is too light.
I was thinking James Robinson.
Assuming that's James Robinson.
It's probably Allen.
Oh, if it's Allen, then this is not enough. That's not enough. You got to do better than that. You trade them separately, and you can get better value. This is not enough. Make it a first and a third. No. I generally find
so Chase Bateman and a first?
It is James Robinson.
Okay.
So then go ahead and do it.
Okay.
But as a secondary comment, that's not specific to this trade. When I'm in a rebuild and I'm selling assets, I always find that it is better to sell them one at a time than a lot at once, because it's rare that you find one person who like really wants all of those players. Usually it's like this guy wants this player and another one might want this player a lot. You're usually better off going one at a time selling than a lot at once. I can't remember the last time I sold multiple players at the same time. It's almost always one at a time. People find me annoying for doing that because I just offer everyone every player, but get over it. It works.
In a Superflex Dynasty League right here.
Raheel, welcome. Welcome back.
Would you trade CD Lamb and Tannehill for Chase and Fields? My QB1 is Burrow, and I have Higgins trying to super stack.
Let me think about that.
I don't worry about super stacking, so just forget that part.
Yeah, I don't worry about that. I mean,
Tannehill, Chase.
Yeah, give me Chase and Fields. Well, yeah, Chase and Fields.
It's close.
Not really, because I'd rather have, if you actually think about this the other way, I'd rather have Fields than Lamb, and I'd rather have Chase than Tannehill. So, in terms of value. So, if you think about it that way, instead of comparing the quarterback and wide receiver, it's very easy to pick Chase and Fields.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So,
sorry to hate the watch and stuff, but does it make too much sense for the Steelers to pony up for him? One of their only weaknesses. They haven't been linked to him at all.
They have $73 million in cap room in 2022. Keep that in mind. The people must remember that they have $73 million in cap room in 2022. They will not have any trouble getting a quarterback. Now, when it comes to Watson, that depends on when the trade plays out. If it plays out before the trade deadline, it won't be the Steelers. It'll probably be the Dolphins or maybe the Eagles. But, remember Watson has a no trade clause. I haven't heard anything about the Steelers. I don't know if he would be interested in going there. So we have to keep that in mind, his no trade clause. But
go ahead.
The Steelers, for me, you know who I think could end up on the Steelers? You know what I think?
Jameis Winston.
Aaron Rodgers. They have $73 million in cap space. Wouldn't that... Why not?
He's going out west.
Well, but why couldn't he end up in Pittsburgh?
I mean, sure.
Why not? Why is that not a possibility?
It's still speculation, which you shot down earlier.
Well, no, I'm fine speculating on realistic scenarios. I just don't want to waste time speculating on ridiculous scenarios.
Like, it's realistic because he's good and there's
realistic
a need
scenarios
there,
include,
but not necessarily realistic.
Scenarios include that they will sign a veteran, they will trade for a star quarterback, or they will draft one. Those are the realistic scenarios. So trades would include players like Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Garoppolo, and then any other quarterback who becomes disgruntled from now till then, who can include anybody, given what we've learned about the NFL. So there are some options. In terms of free agents, they would be looking at like Marcus Mariota, Mitch Trubisky, not exciting players. So free agent is not as good, but it's still better than. That's why I'm saying like Rudolph at Haskins is not realistic because they could just sign Marcus Mariota and that would be better than that. So like, or Gardner Minshew would be available. So, it's not going to be that bad. And then there's drafting a player. If Roethlisberger is horrible and they're 3 and 14, then, it could be Spencer Rattler, Sam Howell, that kind of player. So those are the three situations that they could be looking at. In none of those are they looking at Rudolph and Haskins.
Would you trade Michael Thomas for Chase Claypool?
In a heartbeat.
Ed agrees with you. I would like to point out that Jordan Matthews, after his rookie year, was going off the board as the wide receiver 17. At the same
time. But the difference is that I'm right this time. The difference is that I'm right. The difference is that Chase Claypool is actually good and Jordan Matthews wasn't.
The same arguments would have been made.
That's probably true, but I think I have it right this time. I really do.
Justin has this right. The MFL app is trash.
Well, actually, he's more than right because there is no app.
Yeah,
I can't say it's trash because there isn't one. I've never used it.
I do, but like if I need to do anything important, I go to Safari.
It's so bad that I don't even trust it. I've given up on the idea of using MFL on my phone.
Adam, thanks to Tyler and Cal. I have Claypool 2 spots ahead of MT, so yes, I do that.
Is this really you having Claypool 2 spots ahead of MT, or is this me having Claypool 2 spots ahead of MT?
It's you. Nobody cares where I have Claypool, except for Todd. Was it Todd that agreed with me? Yeah.
I meant me versus Adam, but I've also moved MT down in my rankings, so you'll see an update soon.
Would you trade Chris Carson for Trey Sermon and draft assets?
There's an and? I'm getting Trey Sermon and? I would trade Chris Carson for Trey Sermon straight up. So I'm getting an and? Yes. Yes, I would. I prefer Trey Sermon over Chris Carson. It's in line with ADP. It's not a weird take or anything.
I was just trying to find Chris Carson, and I'm on 2015 on accident because
it's not a weird take, right? I mean, Trey Sermon is going higher than Chris Carson in current ADP, so the fact that I prefer him seems very reasonable.
Chris Carson right now is going off the board as the RB25. Trey Sermon is the RB23,
and those prices both seem reasonable to me. And I'd slightly lean towards Sermon, just like the ADP says.
Yeah, PT, I don't know. The comparison to Calvin Johnson, it's not that I think that you think he was Calvin Johnson. I just don't like to make those comparisons as well. I understand what you meant. Makes sense. TK loves Sleeper.
I do love Sleeper.
If you look up in Fantasy Talk, now I've seen it all. It's actually pretty popular in among people who would call themselves like not the film guys, but the analytics crew. VLOOKUP seems to be seem to be popular.
I still don't know too much about it. I just know that I know what it does.
Oh yeah, James Robinson, Madden or chess. We out here. We're pretty close to the end here. If you've got any questions, you can go ahead and get them in. And we might even get to a Twitter question or two. If not, but if you have questions, go ahead and get them in, and we should be able to get to them. Corey Luke, last pick in the 16 team, 1 QB, 3rd round reversal. I got Burrow, Lance, Garoppolo, Dobbins, Swift, Gibson, Chase, AB, Bateman, Moore, Tanyan. What moves do I make?
I mean, you can make any moves, right? I mean, I don't know. Like, this is these like team questions. What moves do I make? I mean,
it's hard to know what's out there for you.
Yeah, like anything could be out there. Like, your quarterbacks are fine in a 1 QB. I mean, running back is fine. Like, you don't really have any apparent weaknesses. I mean, 16 team Tunyon is okay. I don't know if you have a backup, but like, this is a hard question to answer. I don't know what moves you can make, really.
Find a better tight end.
You have a pretty good team for a 16-teamer, I think, though. It's hard to tell without looking at your league, though. It's
16 teams, yeah. That's tough.
These like team-specific, very team-specific, like what moves do I make questions are tough on this show because it's very specific to you.
Mm-hmm. That's a great one.
Better questions tend to be things that are a little bit more like universal. It's hard to go through individual teams. That's really what my Patreon's for. Like that's when I'll do it. Like go through your team specifically. Like if you want to sign up for that, go for it. You know, the link is on my Twitter profile. But yeah, just like going through teams, it's hard to do it because we can't see your league on the show, live on the show.
Anthony says A-Rod to pick next year.
Yeah, it's possible, but anything's possible. It's just one of a zillion possible outcomes. But they will solve the quarterback situation.
Caleb, Debo and Damian Harris for Woods.
Debo and Damian Harris for Woods and Hines. Give me Debo and Damian Harris, I think. Yeah.
I'll go the other way.
Really? I just think that just looking at the ADPs and where they are, it's like Debo and Woods is a lot higher than he should be.
Woods ADP is higher than he should be. Wide receiver 24.
That's too high.
Debo is... Where are you, Debo? He is... I can't find him. He's got to be on here somewhere. Is he higher? He's not higher than him.
No, he's not.
No.
But anyway, I'm taking the two younger players with more upside, long term over the capped Woods and the no upside Hines.
Wide receiver 39.
That's too low. Actually, it's not that low, but Woods at 24 is too high. I'm taking the Debo and Harris side, but I'm not like, yay, I'm getting two players I love. I'm like, I'm getting two players I'm okay with.
I think this is the easiest disagreement we've had that's clearly on my side. Robert Woods and Hines is way better.
It isn't.
Way better, especially if it's a PPR league.
No,
Harris will catch a lot of passes this year.
Harris has, just no. This isn't even worth really explaining though, because like it just kind of if I just look at my rankings and I look at where they're ranked based on the rounds, if I were in a startup, the Debo Harris picks are what I want. And that's really the reason why I'm giving the answer.
Hines is going to have more fantasy points this year than Harris for sure. For sure.
No way. No way. You saw how Wentz threw to Sanders. No way.
He was a top 15 running back last year.
Oh, that was with Phillip Rivers. No way.
He's the second best option in the passing game for them.
That's very sad.
Damian Harris is not going to catch passes.
I still want the other side. There's a lot of hype around Damian Harris.
There is, but he's not getting the goal line work either.
And not until they go to Jones.
Hey guys,
Robert Woods is just value capped. April 92. It's just like Nyheim Hines is never going to go up in value either. So it's like all the value opportunity is on the other side. So it's really hard for me to take the side that has no value upside.
Yeah, I guess I just don't believe in the players as much for fantasy.
I would have to be like, I would have to be
people I think are going to score more fantasy points.
I would have to be a desperate contender to even consider the Woods Hines side. Desperate. And I try not to be a desperate contender.
Thoughts on Gabe Davis?
I'm out on Gabe Davis. Just not in. Not a fan.
I think you were in earlier in the year, weren't you?
Opinions change. Opinions change. Things change.
What happened?
Nothing really. I just changed my mind.
West Coast Cheaper, thanks guys for helping us fantasy football junkies. You're welcome.
We try our best.
Thank you, West Coast, for being in here hanging out.
Important. Sometimes what happens is it's rare that this happens, but it does happen to me sometimes, and it happens to other Dynasty analysts too. And the people on Twitter like flame you for it, but it's not. You shouldn't do that. Sometimes there was no new information, but someone just changes their mind. They see it differently. Something changes in their brain, and their opinion evolves over time. I mean, what am I supposed to, what would you rather me just, if I've changed my mind, just stick with what I thought before and just continue to say it? I mean, I don't think that's actually what you want me to do. So,
No, I was just curious if there was a reason something jumped out.
You want me to do that, but like, I just want people to know that like it's okay for people to change their mind, even if there isn't necessarily
new information. You get new information. You should absolutely change
new info, sure. But this is a case where there was just a change in opinion from me, not based on new information. Maybe it was information that was new to me, but like it certainly wasn't new information. It's not like anything happened to Gabriel Davis to change my mind. This change happened after they signed Emmanuel Sanders in free agency. It wasn't that. It was more that I realized that I should have factored that in more when it happened than I did, and changed my mind 2 months later. Mm-hmm. If you really want to know what happened, that's probably my best explanation.
Love it. What pick would you be trading to acquire Mike Evans?
I just think Evans is one of those guys that it's hard for me to trade for him because the value is high, the value upside is 0, and the age cliff is now. Mm-hmm. And I think the fantasy upside is limited. I think last year's wide receiver 11 is his absolute ceiling. So if that's his ceiling, and I don't think he'll hit it, I have him ranked wide receiver 24 for this year. And he's about to turn 28. Value upside's not there. Fantasy upside's not there. So he's one of those guys that I'm just so not targeting that I'm probably not even inquiring about Evans. If I'm in a league, I'm probably just not taking my time trying to trade for someone I don't want. So I guess I'm just fading him completely. It's the kind of thing where I would need an offer to come into me, selling me Evans at like a ridiculous discount, and then maybe I'd consider it. But I'm probably not even bothering to send an offer for Evans because I think the other manager would find my offer insulting.
Justin asks, what do you look for in players at the bottom of your draft when you are filling out your roster? Are there certain positions, backups? Do you have a strategy for the very end of your draft?
Yes, typically I'm not rostering wide receivers at that point. And I'm usually rostering running backs, occasionally some tight end stashes, and backup quarterbacks in Superflex. Wide receivers, I'm typically not rostering.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not, we talked about this earlier. I'm just have no interest in Alan Lazard, Marcus Valdez-Scantling, or Randall Cobb. Someone else can have all of them. I'm good. I'd rather have like Jake Funk on my roster instead of those guys. Because the running back gives you more upside.
But a Marquez Callaway.
Yeah, because Marquez Callaway is more of an unknown. So I know what those other three are. But Marquez Callaway is a total wild card. So if I'm going to take a wide receiver, I want a total wild card. Someone we know nothing about. Mm-hmm. And Marquez Callaway fits that bill nicely.
Gaming Nerd, woo, can finally tune into one of my favorite Dynasty shows live. Love these streams. Thank you.
Keep in mind that advice varies based on your league size and number of players you have to start. If you're in a 16-team league where you start 12, ignore everything I just said and roster guys like Randall Cobb and Tyrell Williams because you might be starting them in a 16-team start 12. So just most of what I'm saying is like, just to give the people an idea, what I'm considering is like a normal league is like 12-team start like 10.
Superflex.
Yeah. 12-team Superflex start 10.
PPR.
Yeah. But like to give an idea of the number of players, it's about 12, 10. 12, 10.
We appreciate you tuning in, Gaming Nerd. And yes, if you are watching this after the live stream, thank you for doing so.
Yes, that really helps us a lot.
Yeah, I love it. Woods at 24 isn't too high. Woods, Hines all the way.
I mean, you know me. Disagreeing with me is usually not going to change my mind.
I'm with you, Lance.
Yeah, you can bask in the glory of being wrong.
Doc,
that's one of my favorite sayings.
Doc Rivers agrees with you.
Oh, okay.
Contender, what's an offer to send for Mixon? PPR Dynasty 1 QB.
We're not trading for Mixon.
Don't do this.
We're not going to be doing that. Is Mixon on the block, like Ed said? Like, is Mixon available? Is like the Mixon manager like specifically trying to trade him? Because then maybe I'd consider sending a low ball. But if like you're just asking, oh, should I trade for Mixon? The answer is going to be no, because he's overvalued.
He says, he or she, sorry. I have no first, but 3 seconds and hella wide
There's
receivers.
There's nothing wrong with Gibson being your wide receiver or your running back one.
Best back is Gibson. Your best back will still be Gibson.
Yeah. So.
But if you can get him for seconds, sure, I guess. But
I just can't imagine that I'm going to like what it's going to take to get Mixon.
I don't
Mixon
think so.
is a little bit like Evans. I'm probably not inquiring.
Ed with the right question here. Is the Mixon owner trying to sell?
Yeah, I'm probably not inquiring about Mixon. I'd probably have to be offered Mixon and start thinking about it if someone's really interested. But again, I think my opening offer to acquire Mixon, most Mixon managers would find insulting. So I usually don't send offers that I think people will find insulting. I usually think that that's not a productive use of time.
The how much of one team is too much? If a team has the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, running back 3, is it smarter to trade away the running backs?
I don't understand this question.
I do.
Like, is he saying what's too much to have of one specific NFL team?
Yes.
Oh, there's no amount. I don't care.
I do care.
Why?
I think it can limit your upside a little bit, and I get nervous if I have too many players from the same team.
Why?
It might depend on the team, but even like if I've got Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hill, fine. But
I just want the value in the draft. I'm not thinking about that. Players change teams all the time. Players that are on the same team now might not be next year. Like, I just want value. This is just, I have other concerns. This is just so low on my list that I'm never thinking about it. This is not something, I don't have time for this. I'm thinking about value. I'm thinking of production. I'm not thinking about, well, I have this many players from this team. That's just not something that comes up in my head ever.
But you don't have to throw value out of the window. Like, if you can trade and get a similar type player.
Yeah, but like,
and diversify.
I just don't feel the need to do that. Like, I
do.
I'll do it if I get good value, but I'm not. But then I would do the trade anyway if I got good value. I'm fine trading into it if it's good. But see, I'm fine trading into a lot of players on one team if it was good value to do the trade. All I care about is value. So it's fine if it's going out, fine if it's going in. I just don't care.
I just don't like being all in on one outcome.
Don't care. I don't care. Being all in on one outcome sometimes is how you win.
Yeah, but if that team's facing Washington this week and they're going to get stomped.
If. I mean, a lot of if, right? I mean,
they're going to have off days.
This is such a silly question because my answer is literally just no. It's completely stupid. And like, it's only because
definitely have too much of one team though.
No, you can't.
You would have a full team like consisting of like.
Well, how could you have gotten all those players at the appropriate value, right? Like, I just want value.
Well,
it's very unlikely that I'm going to end up at all of the players on one team just by a coincidence.
So if you have Dak, Zeke, Tony Pollard, Gallup, Lamb, Cooper,
but how did I get all of those players?
You're fine with that?
Yes, but how did I get them? How did I get that? Did I get them at value?
You made trades that were the right value. Yes.
I would be fine with that, but there's just no way that that's possible given their values. You can't have that.
That wouldn't be too much of one team for you. You'd be fine with it.
Yes, I would.
That's too much of one team for me.
It's just unrealistic to say that you would have all of those players based on their values. It's not possible.
Like, but there is an answer to this that is like, yeah, I got too much of one team for me.
I gave my answer. I gave my answer, and that's probably the only answer that I'm going to give.
Yeah, you don't have to agree. I'm just saying, yes, there is.
I don't agree. I don't agree and don't care. So that's always the worst combo.
You gave your answer. I gave mine.
Yeah, I just think this is a silly question, personally.
As a Mixon owner and contender, I'm not getting what I'd want for him.
Probably not, and that's why it's hard to trade for Mixon.
Damon asked Curtis Samuel is a good Wide receiver for your flex.
That's an eh. Like, sure, he's fine. I am worried that they just extended Logan Thomas, though, to a contract. That shows that Logan Thomas is not being phased out of this offense. And I'm just not sure that they're going to be able to support multiple weapons. Like, is Ryan Fitzpatrick going to be able to support beyond McLaurin as a stud and Gibson as a good running back? And like, is he going to be able to support Thomas as like a top 8 tight end and Samuel as like much more than what you're saying, a wide receiver 3 flex? Probably not. So I just think the upside's not there. I'm kind of out.
So all Titans, for example.
I'm never going to have Julio Jones. So Titans are an unrealistic example because I'm not going to have Julio Jones at his ADP. There are, you know why this is unlikely though? Because it's very rare that I would like all the players on their team at their ADP, right? Because I have to not like someone. So someone I'm going to have ranked lower than their ADP. It's rare. Actually, the Cowboys are a good example of a team where I have almost all of their players ranked above ADP, but there's still going to be a problem because I'm not going to be able to have Darwin. I'm not going to be able to have Darwin. I'm not going to be able to have Zeke because I have them way lower than their ADP, so they're never going to end up on my team.
You didn't have to have gotten them this year, and you could have been offered a trade that made sense for you to get them.
I guess it's technically possible, but it's just so unlikely because it's so unlikely that I'm going to have all the players from one team just because I have to be out on someone on a team against their ADP. This is just such a ridiculous question.
But it's a real question from someone.
No, it is not a real question.
They want to know.
But I answered the question. It's just that you're never going to have all the players from one team. It's a silly hypothetical. It's like the Steelers quarterback being Dwayne Haskins. It's a silly hypothetical.
Okay. Adam, I thought Marcus Callaway flashed last year, was surprised that he didn't get a bigger role, getting him at the end of every down.
Last year there was no role for him because Emmanuel Sanders was there and Jared Cook was there and there wasn't an opportunity. But, this year there could be an opportunity. I don't know.
There could be.
They need to do something, though. I mean, they cannot go into the season with Traquan Smith, Marquez Callaway, Deontay Harris, Kawan Baker, and Chris Hogan as their receivers, right? I mean, they can't, can they? They're going to sign someone. They have to.
This question came in from @DLF_Carp, 12 teams.
Yeah, who's that?
Flex.
Yeah.
1.75 tight end premium trade Jordan Love
for this is a silly question now.
First, Jacob Harris, 2022 fifth. Thoughts?
But this question is stupid now because this question was before Aaron Rodgers came back. So now this seems like I put this question in here to brag, but that's not why I originally put it in. This trade was done. This was a trade addicts 8 trade. This trade was done, and I'm sure Dynasty Outhouse will talk about this on his show. But this trade was done when Aaron Rodgers was like retiring. So at the time, it was interesting. Now it's obviously the first side. But this wasn't meant to be like a self-congratulation. This was supposed to be a legitimate question that now is...
It's a stupid hypothetical that would never happen.
Yeah, well, I guess what this shows you is be aggressive when there's uncertainty. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's the lesson you can learn from this is I was able to get this for Jordan Love at some point. So... other people, you should have tried if you had him, I suppose.
Long term, would you rather have Debo with Trey Lance or DJ Chark with Trevor Lawrence?
Well, that's assuming that DJ Chark re-signs with the Jaguars. And if they do re-sign him, then I would much rather have DJ Chark.
So are we taking a no hypotheticals stance on this show?
We're taking a no unrealistic hypothetical stance.
Okay.
I mean, what do you think about DJ Chark re-signing with the Jaguars? Because I think that's literally 50-50. I have no idea.
It's a big year for him. I said earlier, I think DJ Chark is such a huge question mark.
But that's
I have no idea what to expect from him out of this.
Well, I think we're in agreement, right? That we have no idea what to expect from him. And have no idea if he's going to be back after this year, right? I mean, I think we agree on that we have no idea.
Yeah.
So I don't know if DJ Chark is going to be there in 2022. I don't think anyone does. I don't think Urban Meyer knows. I don't think DJ Chark knows.
Still think the answer to this probably is Chark and Trevor.
Well, the issue with
Debo, they're going to
Debo,
stick together, then it's them.
yeah, but that's more of an anti-Debo issue because Trey Lance.
I don't know that the offense is going to support that in San Fran.
My issue is that Trey Lance is going to be a great fantasy quarterback, but he's going to be a big runner.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's going to take the passing volume down, and I think that Debo is the clear 3 on this team. I think it's very clearly Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, clearly in that order. And I'm just not sure that the Trey Lance's third weapon is going to be that exciting.
I know this is always debatable, but are there favorite slots for you to draft from?
Are we talking a Superflex redraft or a 1 QB?
Let's say both.
Well, it's 1-on-1 either way because I want to draft CMC and a Superflex. I want to draft Mahomes.
There are a lot of studies that the 101 is way more likely to win the championship.
Yeah, I mean, outside of a third round reversal, it's easily the 101.
Yeah. Lots of studies on that. Craig Schmucker, what younger wide receivers do you think are attainable by trading AB away in a rebuild?
A lot of the guys we talked about in that question before, Amari Rodgers would be my first choice because he's the one I believe in the talent the most.
Yeah, that was around the wide receiver.
Amari Rodgers is a lower ADP than AB, and that was, before the Cobb thing. So, but also when Aaron Rodgers looked like he was going to be on. But Amari Rodgers would be a target for me. I'd be fine looking at Bryan Edwards. Yeah. Maybe De'Ami Brown, Nico Collins, the guys we mentioned in that question. Darnell Mooney, I think, is asking a lot.
They're going pretty close. Antonio Brown is wide receiver 61. Amari is wide receiver 69. Well, it's pretty close.
Darnell Mooney, I think, would be my first attempt, but I don't think that would happen.
No.
And my second attempt would probably be...
That's an unrealistic hypothetical, which is a great band name, by the way. Unrealistic hypothetical.
Yes, but the good news is that you're much more likely to find Dynasty league mates who make stupid trades than, I think we're better at predicting what NFL teams do than we are what Dynasty league mates do because you've been in leagues, you know what some of the trades that happen.
I don't think you get anything for AB right now.
No, probably not.
Damon, how long?
I'd be able to get Hollywood Brown because everyone hates him.
How long do you guys?
I'd be able to get that
until Field starts.
The second half of week 1.
Okay, I had this thought today. Speaking of hypotheticals, but look, things happen you don't predict, right?
Right.
Everybody's like, "Oh, Andy Dalton, they'll throw him out to the Rams in game 1, and then it'll be all Field."
That's my prediction. Yes.
What if Dalton doesn't look awful against the Rams?
That's unlikely.
But things happen, right? Like we see it every year.
I think that Matt Nagy is under like an order that Justin Fields must see the field. Personally.
Yeah.
Because Ryan Pace's job is on the line.
I think he probably feels the same way about that you would in that same situation.
Yes, but their jobs are on the line.
Yeah, Ed with the exactly what I was saying there, man. I cannot get the value that I want for AB. I can't either.
Like, if my advice is bad, I'm not getting kicked off this show. Whereas, like, if their decision is bad, they're losing their jobs are they're about to be fired. So they have a little bit more pressure on them than I do right now.
I think both Debo, my 32, and Chark, my 31, aren't those QB's primary targets in 3 years.
Well, I mean, Debo's never going to be a primary target, so that's true. Chark could be.
Chark could be.
Well, that's why I prefer Chark, because Chark could be, whereas I know Debo's not.
Would prefer Ayuk and Visca at ADP. Well, absolutely
on Visca. Ayuk's ADP is high, but
I'd rather Ayuk than Debo too. You would too, right?
Yeah, but he's saying at ADP, and Ayuk's ADP is high.
It is.
Now, with that said, I am in on Ayuk at his ADP, but it is high. It's not cheap. There's a big difference between Ayuk and Deebo in ADP. I'm in on both Chark and Visca at their current ADPs, though.
Yeah. I feel like I have to wait till the season starts and he looks good.
I do feel like people have become too confident toward the side of Chark will definitely fail. Like earlier in the offseason, it was like Chark is going to succeed. But now we've moved too confident that Chark is definitely going to fail. And I really legitimately think that we don't know. I don't think anybody does. I think we'll have to see. So that's now Chark, I think, is a value. Get a second for AB? Yeah, that would be nice, but I don't think you can.
I was going to say, in fact, I was just about to go look and see if I could find any trades for him, anything like that, on the trade finder at DLF.
How often is AB being moved, though?
Yeah, not often.
Like, I feel like he's mostly going to be a throw-in on bigger deals. So it's going to be tough to find an AB trade. The
very first one, a 2022 second. I love it.
Okay, there we go. So
Didn't do it. Antonio Brown and a third for James Conner. No.
That's so irrelevant.
Don't invest in Conner. Go elsewhere.
Whatever. Yeah, probably not.
Antonio Brown for Marquez Callaway, a second and a fourth.
I'll take the second with other things.
Of course. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Maybe I should retry. Maybe he's gaining.
Maybe you should try. Yeah, maybe you should try.
How does keeping Crowder change Elijah Moore's timeline? Does it push back his fantasy relevance?
So this is like the Cobb for Amari Rodgers thing, or there were a couple other situations like this, I think, this offseason, where there's like a temporary stopgap versus a bigger situation. It moves it down, but I think that other people, and I know this from the ADP, moved it down too much. I moved it down like 2 or 3 spots. The ADP moved down 15. So, yeah, it pushes it back a tiny bit. It caused a tiny rankings adjustment. As in, Elijah Moore was ahead of Rondo Moore and Rashad Bateman before, and now he's behind them. That was literally the only change. It literally was just a 2-spot change. But
they got to get Zach Wilson in camp.
That is another issue. Yes.
What are the Jets doing?
I don't understand. But
how? It's like a set number. It's like what?
I don't know. I don't know. They'll get it done. They'll get it done. But to answer Dustin's question, I basically said very little. The ranking moved very little, and it made him a buy. Yes.
We know Tyler's willing to have an entire team.
Okay, but this also gets rid of another question, is that I am not willing to have Tyler Lockett on my team, period. Because I don't want him. He's about to turn 29, and I think he has little to no upside. So whether I have Metcalf or not does not affect the fact that I do not want Tyler Lockett on my team.
I'm willing to have both, yes, Gator fan.
Well, in redraft, I'm fine with having both, but in Dynasty, I don't want Lockett because I don't like his long-term outlook.
I sold Lockett for a 2022 second and a 2023 first.
What?
This week.
Okay, well, I'll never have Tyler Lockett on another team again. I mean, if you can get that.
That was after I traded Keenan Allen for a 2020 second first and a 2023 first.
So
I feel like I set the market and then I capitalized on like what people were thinking the market was.
Clearly, I don't want Tyler Lockett at that price.
Do you see Jonnu as 1 or 2 in targets for New England this year? 1.
Well,
I think it's 1.
I don't. This is just such a disaster. I think it's irrelevant. I would, if I had to place money on who I think leads New England in targets, I would put the money on Nelson Aguilar. Now, that doesn't mean I want Nelson Aguilar in fantasy because the bar for a wide receiver being relevant is a lot higher than the bar for a tight end being relevant.
Mm-hmm.
So while I would bet on Nelson Aguilar as number one, I don't want Nelson Aguilar. But I do think it'll be Nelson Aguilar. I know he's going to have more targets. I think Hunter Henry's going to have more targets than Jonnu Smith. I'm not sure he's going to outproduce him by much, if at all. I think Hunter Henry is just kind of okay. Not a big fan of him either. I like him, but I'm not like a big fan. But I would, if I had to put money on it, I would put money on the order being, and then there's Jacoby Myers could work in there somewhere. He could be anywhere from 2 to 4. I'm pretty sure those are the top 4. But I don't know.
For a minute.
If I had to put money on it, I would put money on Aguilar, Henry, Myers, Jonnu. That's where I'd put the money.
Hey, this question came in from @Calvin and Hobby. Where would you rank Claypool with Haskins or Rudolph at QB?
Okay. Don't fade Chase Claypool.
10 seconds.
I answered it.
You guys are great.
We
Ask
love
us
you.
on Twitter. Ask us on Twitter.
We love you. Yes.